All right. What is up, people of Earth? My name is Thinker St. James. I'm joined with my good friend Chase Parton here, and this is the Free for All, where we go over all of the comedy and the tragedy in the world of mixed martial arts. Chase, how the hell are you?
Man, I am doing really good. For what is it, Wednesday? Gosh, damn, this is a good day to be alive. I'll tell you guys, man. I'm excited. This is fun.
Absolutely. Wednesday into Thursday. It's late night. We're burning the midnight oil over here, but it is for good cause, Chase. You know, you and I, we talk about MMA all the time, every week, in and out, but we are mere fans, right? Humble mortals in this realm, of course. I think every once in a while it's important that we get the experts involved, get people who actually have partaken in this activity and know the ins and outs of it better than you or I ever could. So, I think that it is time for this show to finally level up and have a guest in that world. And I think that we found the right one. Shall we do a little bit of talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about?
Yes, I think it's about time we finally get our guest on. That is someone very special. I'm really excited, guys. Appreciate the support. Everybody who's been here knows through thick and thin we've been here, and this is gonna be a good reveal.
Absolutely. Well, then that being said, we do have a guest. He is a bantamweight with a 21-13 record. He is an Ultimate Fighter season 31, excuse me, finalist and a UFC Fight of the Night awardee. He is a man who used MySpace to effectively court the woman who would become his wife, and then he had children with that woman. He is a father, he is a coach, he is an all-around good guy and a person that I am happy to call a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings me great pleasure to welcome our guest, Mr. Cody Gibson is here with us. Cody, how are you?
Dude, that was a great introduction.
Well, thank
You
you.
even slipped in a MySpace reference.
It's the funniest thing because that was the one thing that I remember most distinctly when I reviewed the season of The Ultimate Fighter that you were on. That was one of my favorite jokes that I got to sneak in there because you chose to let the world know that that was how that went down.
Yeah, dude, there's so many
Speak of the
clips of
devil, you
Cody.
just walked in.
Uh,
You want a podcast?
Jackie is here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did you need your computer?
No.
This is awesome. Jesus, what an appearance here. Gosh.
Tell her that I feel like I know
they
her
were just
too.
talking about how I MySpace you. That's how no, my wife, she didn't read her text message when I told her I was going on in the garage to go on a podcast. So this is her office. She works from home now, and so I'm at her desk. And
Yeah, you're invading her space.
so I'm sorry. I got sidetracked already.
No, like I was saying though, I feel like I know her too from that season of the show. You know, she wears the pants in the house, if I remember.
She doesn't like being like videotaped. She was like freaking out. They made us do like a bunch of like at home like cell phone footage, and she kept like making me delete shit and like I don't want that in there. And like I was like, dude, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Well, she was great. Kids were great. You were obviously great on the show, made it all the way to the finals and whatnot. So, I mean, look, we can go into all about you, your life, your fighting, and all that stuff, but that is not what this show is. This show is about what is going on in the world of MMA now, currently. So, what I want to know is, Cody, how much are you keyed into the MMA culture and the landscape? And I mean, you're out there, you're fighting, you're doing all of that, you're coaching and all of that. But do you pay attention to the goings on in this space?
Yeah, I follow the sport pretty closely. I don't miss many fights. Like sometimes if it's like an early morning one or if I'm doing something with my family and I'm not available to watch them, but I'm a father of 3, so I'm not. My Friday and Saturday nights look a lot different than they looked like in my early 20s, and so I'll always catch them up. I'll catch up to them, Sometimes I'll skip some if I miss a card, and then I go back to watch the fights that happened. Usually, I'll try to stay off the internet, stay off the phone, because that'll fuck you. Because once I see the result of a fight, I'm less likely to go back and watch the fight. Like, unless I get like a bunch of shit that says like, dude, this was a wild fight, and then I'll go back and watch the fight. But if I see the results, I'm just like, I don't know. It kind of kills it for me. So as long as I can stay off my phone, I'll usually go back at night and watch the ones, most of it, probably 75% of them,
movie where if the twist ending, you're not as likely to want to watch it.
Yeah, sometimes that's killed it for me. And I'll be honest, if it's just 2 fighters I could give a shit less about, and I don't think, they're not very talented, or they're like, I don't know. Sometimes there'll be like a 115-pound matchup, and you're like, I don't give a shit, like.
Well, that is certainly criticism we've heard about our own podcast, where we go over every single fight in the UFC, and people will tell us, we don't need to hear about this fight specifically. These guys maybe not the most exciting, but we're in there anyway. So, but it is good that the frame of reference that you're coming from is definitely going to be perfect for this format here. Chase Parton here, my co-host, is the shepherd of this show. He's the captain of the ship. As you can see on screen, we've got the blank Google screen here. Chase is going to be bringing us through a series of current events in the sport. We're going to go through them. We're going to talk them through and see what we think about all of those, on both the comedy and tragedy side of this sport. So, Chase, do you want to take it away? Actually, before we do that, though, I do also want to mention to everybody in the chat, because I know that we're going to have a bunch of people in the chat for this one. If you guys have questions for Cody, we're going to wait till a little bit later in the stream for him. So hang on to them. And instead of going over what we would normally do at the end, where we ask for your stories and whatever else is going on, we'll take a few questions if you have them. So that being said, Chase, take it away.
Well, absolutely. We're going to start, but let's go ahead and give the shout out to the chat before we go.
That too.
Lachlan, 10-7, appreciate you. Didgeridoo Dave, appreciate you. All of you, you guys are awesome. Hey, if you're here seeing this, you've witnessed history. I tell you, this is about to be one good stream. So knowing that Cody is invested in the fights, this is really good going into it. And to counter the point about it not being, too much about Cody, I mean, there's going to be moments in here that I think sometimes you can relate a lot to modern stuff. So I think Cody and his story is going to come out a lot more than maybe we would expect, and I think I'm going to keep him on his toes a little bit. So right. Cody, with that being said, I hope you're as excited as we are, man. This is going to be good.
You can tell. Yeah, you see the expression there.
You got me worried now. I don't know.
No, you're good, man. I swear this will be awesome. So obviously, if you keep up with the UFC, surely you keep up with the Contender Series. Is that correct? Yes, no?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm a little bit less. I mean, I follow, like, if there's, I usually will catch up at least with like a YouTube, like fucking greatest hits from the night. I watched those last night. That's how I watched the fights. I watched the YouTube, every fight's kind of like whatever. And so sometimes with Contender Series, I'm like that. But yeah, I'm assuming you're going to talk about last night's.
We are definitely going to talk about last night's first, but, I love how you are a highlights guy. If you are on Paramount, I don't know how close you are, but they have this thing called All Killer, No Filler. Cody, I think you would love it. I'm just letting you know. But to first start, of course, yes, Bellamere, she definitely lost. I don't know if we can zoom in and see. Probably not, of course, because fucking shit sucks. But we just have a couple comments from everybody. Jeff Molina, Yana Santos. But the point of the story is Frank Mir had a daughter. She was a heavy favorite, and she lost. So what do you make of that, Cody? Just right off the rip. I mean, other than her being a big favorite, I mean, her losing, is it that crazy of a story knowing that she's just Frank Mir's daughter, or is it crazy because she was touted as this massive favorite? I don't know. What do you guys say?
I mean, she's really high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level wrestling for a female. So I would not expect her to lose, no. I don't know why. I didn't see the whole fight. I saw the highlights, and it looked like she was striking with her the whole time. Why didn't she just wrestle her?
Yeah,
it was on the ground.
it was interesting. I mean, she only went to the ground after she got busted up, and it wasn't necessarily as dominant as you'd expect from somebody who's 3-0 or 4-0 in UFC BJJ right now. So I was a little surprised, but Thinker, I think you might have a better grasp on the fight itself because I was setting up a new iPhone at this point. So please take it away.
I mean, I think really what happened here is that Alex Apodaca did exactly what she said she was going to do and come in and shock the world. I mean, she looked really decent through all of the early parts of this, and that was where Bella was having the most success. When she was trying to strike early, she was doing okay with it, but the range was like where she wanted it to be. I think that after Apodaca created a different dynamic with the range, it started to make it a little bit more difficult for Bella to find the proper distance that she wanted. And then in the second round, the big turning point, as far as I saw, was when Apodaca stuffed like a really solid double leg attempt, just flat out colded her on it. And I mean, I don't know if that necessarily was like a mental shift for her or whatever, but it definitely, she stopped attempting at that point when, like you're saying, I mean, she's so high level in BJJ, a multi-time national champion wrestler as well. Like you would have thought that she would have had. It's when we were talking about Chanel Dyer and Elise Reed, where we were saying Elise Reed's game plan should have just been go back to the wrestling, shoot, shoot, shoot. Don't even try to strike with her. That probably should have been similar to the plan here, at least after you had a little bit of time to realize what the striking was like. So, I mean, I just think that Apodaca, it just seemed like she was the one who had the base of experience, and it might have just been a little bit too quick of a shoot up here for Bellamere as far as MMA specifically goes.
Yeah, she looked a little flat footed from what I saw, or like kind of clunky on the feet, like kind of like plotty, like kind of just like bouncing around a lot and like kind of like plotting. And yeah, you're a shorter fighter, and that girl had a good stance. She had like a bladed stance and was popping the jab. It looked like pretty good. And
I think it was the aura from the inner lip Texas tattoo that she has as well. I think that was a big part of it. She pulls that inner lip down. She got a tattoo right in there. I mean, I don't know how you contend with that specifically on the Contender Series.
That's a flex for sure.
The one thing that I say I noticed, and this is just optics, of course. Bellamere, when I read that it was bantamweight, I was like, what in the world is happening? She does not look like a bantamweight fighter. Like, she looks like she probably walks around at like the bantamweight weight, but somebody like a Jocelyn Edwards, I mean, she would be massive compared to Bella, which obviously that's a matchup that would just not happen right now. But when you have people like Yana Santos and this little comment here saying, I got people saying she was going to take over the bantamweight division. It's like, well, first off, she's 23 years old or whatever, 24, and she's maybe not in the weight class that she is. In UFC BJJ, it's different, because I don't know how much of the weight cutting culture is a factor over there, how much she would cut compared to her opponent there. But here, it definitely it looked like a difference. I'm not saying Alex Apodaca was massive. I thought she also was not necessarily looking like a bantamweight fighter. I mean, guys, Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes make the 135 limit. They're about to fight for the belt. Bellamere just does not match up with them, so it was definitely interesting. But Cody, actually a great point for somebody. You fight at 135. It's obviously different for women, but you don't seem like somebody who would make 135. You have a long, tall frame. It would seem like you would be at a different weight. Is there anything you would say to how weight cutting can make a make or break difference? If she needs to actually try to cut down to 25. Anything you got to say there?
I mean, girls are different too than boys.
Yeah.
Like dudes. Like I've seen girls that struggle to cut 6-7 pounds. And it's not that they're like pussies or wimps. It's like it's just harder. From my experience, it looks like it's harder for women to shed water weight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she didn't look like very big by any means. And honestly, like MMA is different than any other sport, and that's why I always find it interesting that like you see the UFC starting to like lean into like hotshot wrestler guys. Like obviously, like I think it's one thing with Gable Stevenson because Gable Stevenson is a freak athlete and he's gonna throttle heavyweights. He could probably throttle half the division right now because half the division is fucking slop. But look at how they're treating Bo Nickel, right? Like they accidentally ran him up the ladder a little too fast, and then they had to reset, and now they're building him again. But I've seen Olympic medalists that had 500 MMA careers on the regional scene. You know, like like Stephen Abbas is from California. He was an Olympic silver medalist, NCAA national, multiple-time NCAA national champion. He has moves named after him. I mean, the guy's one of the greats. And I think he went like, I don't know, you'd have to tapology him, but maybe like 2-2 or 3-4-2 or something like that. And he wasn't like, he just didn't transfer it over very well, you know, like, and so it's interesting to see when you see a wrestler, an unproven in MMA, but someone who has accolades in other sports. And then you look at sport jiu-jitsu too. Like, it's half the shit they do in sport jiu-jitsu you can't do in MMA, or you're just going to get throttled.
Like, I think that there was definitely an issue there with the transition for Mir, it seemed, because one of the things I also was going to mention is that by round 3, the cardio to be a problem as well. And I don't know, I mean, you'd think that with wrestling being the primary, that, you know, the movement would be, you know, at least comparable somewhat to, you know, to the expenditure of cardio for her. But I mean, maybe it was the striking on top of it, or just all the other, you know, factors that go into it. But by the time that she started to really want to go for the wrestling a little bit more, they were on the ground for a decent amount of round 3. She just wasn't able to like get her move set off. Like she wasn't able to actually like establish dominance in that time either. So, you know, that ended up being, I think, one of the bigger parts of the downfall here. She had a pretty good round 1, round 2, Apodaca came back, and then she just didn't have the pieces of the puzzle left to put together in round 3. So it seemed like it was adjustments that needed to be made probably before she got this big a call up. But I think that also goes to the fact that she's coming in with the last name, and that, you know, it puts her on this pedestal a little bit too quickly. And everybody seems to just be okay with that. That should have been a team issue to me. You know, they should have known that coming into this, like, hey, maybe this needs to wait a little bit longer before we put her in front of this huge spotlight. I mean, this is what the Contender Series is. She could have gotten this loss on the regionals. No one would think anything about it. She gets this huge loss. She's this massive favorite in this fight. Now everybody remembers.
Yeah, I know her jiu-jitsu coach. I've trained with him at he used to train at Robert Drysdale's in Las Vegas. And Drysdale was my art jiu-jitsu coach on the Ultimate Fighter. And so I always, whenever I go to Vegas, I usually spend most of my time like at the PI and Extreme Couture, but I always make a point to go over to Drysdale's and get in a jiu-jitsu class, because he's got some good guys and he's always super, like, you know, welcoming. And her jiu-jitsu coach was a black belt, or I think he was a brown belt at Drysdale's when I met him a few years ago. And now he's not at Drysdale's. He's a black belt, and he's like he's a personal jiu-jitsu coach for a few different fighters. He's at the PI a lot doing privates and like working with people. But he is good. But again, sport jiu-jitsu is so much different. Like, you know, I've been just opening the gym. I opened a gym like 5-6 months ago, and I teach all the no-gi jiu-jitsu. And even that, like, it's been like, oh, I haven't really trained a lot of like open guard in a long time, you know, just because my focus has been on MMA. And so like I have trained it. I know the positions, and like, oh, we're doing, you know, De La Hiva, we're doing single leg X, we're doing that, we're doing these passes. But it's like in MMA, if your focus is on MMA, you're not doing a lot of that shit on a regular basis, because it's just not that applicable, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
yeah,
just finish the thought. I mean, yeah, I mean, it reminds me a lot, obviously different circumstances, but it reminds me of the same conversation when we talk about boxers versus MMA fighters and this whole dumb rivalry that seems to be in those two worlds. I always fall back to the same point. They are two separate sports. They have different dynamics to each one of them. There's a reason that the boxers don't come over to MMA, and there's a reason why the MMA fighters have been having less than stellar success at times in boxing. I mean, you know, you got to look at them as distinct entities with their own set of criteria and circumstance that you're bringing in any specific fight. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense what you're saying.
And now you're seeing that with the UFC BJJ guys. When they get on the mic at the end, they're like calling out all these MMA fighters. And I'm like, anyone who's trained in various martial arts enough, with enough good people, knows I ain't going into the world champion boxer's gym and beating him. He's going to beat the shit out of me. Kids that are, you know, 10-0 could beat the shit out of me. Like in a boxing match, like it's pure boxing match, a completely different sport. I can hang with guys. Like I can go in and box with some good pro boxers and give them rounds, give you a body for them and try, but I'm not winning that fight. And the same with jiu-jitsu, like the highest level jiu-jitsu guys, like MMA fighters really, there's not a lot of MMA fighters unless you are like a specialist, that came in as a world champion in jiu-jitsu and you're trying to learn MMA. But someone who's been fighting for a long time and that's been their focus, and they didn't come from some one discipline that they were already an expert in. It's gonna be very hard for any MMA fighter to beat a person in their own world, which is always the funny part because you rarely hear, or you rarely at least see, any of these people stepping into MMA. Shout out to who was the first dude? Randy Couture beat him. Boxer. Tony,
yeah.
James Tony.
Yeah, absolutely. That's old school now. Good ref.
Shout out to James Tony, man. He was the only one doing balls back in the day.
Well, and keeping it going in the modern era with King Green. He's trying at least. I mean, he had mixed success, but he did make one dude look pretty foolish.
Yeah, that was funny how like one day all over the internet was like Bobby King Green makes this 19-0 pro boxer look silly, and then it was like all the MMA warriors were like, yeah, see, we could beat you all in boxing, and then a day later, new video surfaced of him just getting throttled.
He kept it going one step too long. That was the problem. He should have just been happy with because that footage, we did that on the show, the footage of him, when he was really whooping ass. And it was that was such a great clip if he had just left it at that. He tried to fly too close to the sun, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, I tell you, one thing that I will say though, guys, is actually, just to wrap up the Bellamere stuff. I know we went kind of long on it, but just to make the point, if this makes any difference about where she's going to go in the future, Frank Mir also took his first loss at 4-0, guys. So is this destiny? Are she following in the footsteps way too close? And this tweet doesn't say it, but another one said it. And maybe this one doesn't say it for the reason maybe it was incorrect in some way. But I believe 2 years later, Frank Mir became champion after suffering this loss. So what does that say for Miss Bellamere? Is she going to follow in the footsteps after Frank lost to people like Ian Freeman? I mean, what's the deal?
Yeah, no, yes, she's she's gonna come back and be amazing. I don't know. I mean, sure, it's every fight's a new fight. I would say. I mean, right? I mean, she hopefully learned. I mean, based on the fact that she made it to the final horn, did not get submitted, did not get knocked out. I mean, at least she's durable enough for that. Hopefully, this was the exact loss that she needed. That's why I was saying I feel like it would have been a lot better for her if this was not under such a major spotlight, because now it's such a lot of eyes on it. But a fight like that against a game opponent, I think, maybe she just hadn't faced an opponent like that before. So yeah, sure. I mean, she could come back and do that, I would say, right?
Well, and absolutely, you're right. She never faced an opponent like Alex Apodaca because she was actually an accountant. And, I think this is important to bring up because, Cody, I think you can relate to something like this. The dual lifestyle of a fighter, we can listen to her talk for a second and she can kind of run down, her life. I think she said she's going to go back to it, but I didn't necessarily listen to the clip yet. So if we can run this down really quick, we'll listen to what she's got to say, if that's all right.
Roll it.
Are you still working at the accounting firm, and what do they think about your job, and does crunching numbers just make you want to crunch faces?
I do work at a accounting firm. I work a full-time job, and that is very difficult to manage my schedule. But I actually like it, and I like all the people a lot that I work with. I actually don't think I'm just gonna quit. I think I'll keep doing it. I like using my brain, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
What do they think about you doing this, though?
Oh,
are they so proud of you?
Yeah, actually, they've been very supportive, and I have so much gratitude towards them for that. My bosses, everyone I work with, they know when I'm taking off for a fight. They know when I'm cutting weight. I'll be on video calls with Black Eye, and they're totally just used to it by now. And I just think it's the coolest thing ever to have that amount of support from all the people in my life, especially the folks I work for.
How do you celebrate with the team this weekend, that big win?
Well, it's a Tuesday night, but I mean,
This week you're back.
I mean, I am gonna like party my ass off, like, but I have work in the morning.
And
I do. I have a call at like 7:30 a.m. So.
respect. And last for me.
All right, so she is an accountant, and she's got work today. She worked yesterday, guys. How about that? So
Yeah, I mean, for Cody, for you, I mean, I think that there's probably a good amount of parallels here, right? I mean, I would think that with your main job aside from fighting, your second life or however you look at it. I mean, I guess you know that'd be interesting to hear how you define that. But you know, you have a kind of a whole different world that you operate in outside of fighting. So that sounds like there's some parallels there.
Yeah, and how old is she? She's like probably like 24 or something.
I'm not familiar actually. Let's double check that fact check really quick.
It's got to be somewhere around there.
She's got to be on the
yeah.
younger side.
Yeah.
32.
Oh.
Oh shit. Well, no wonder she has a full-time job.
True. Yeah.
I mean, so well, for you, I mean, like, first of all, I guess about her. I fell in love with this girl on this show. She has a great personality. She said exactly what she was going to do, and then she came in and did it. Fought like, you know, living. We talk about that with these guys on Contender Series with their little intros and stuff. You know, all the things that they say that they're going to do, and then if they can actually accomplish that, she did, and then did it all with this big infectious personality and energy that she has. So I really like Alex Apodaca there, but I am also interested in how that works out for you, Cody, with the teaching and whatnot. I mean, is it a similar type of situation? You got to be in there with black eyes at times, huh?
Yeah, the kids would just get used to it, like, or I don't know, the admin never, you know, like whatever, like. I always have sometimes you get black eyes, but mine my ears are so jacked, and I always get like new collies or just like scabs because it's like so fat and everything. So it'll always scab up and be bleeding, and like sometimes I don't even know, and then like I'll look in a mirror and I'll have like a fucking dry blood on my ear, you know, like, oh shit, I've been walking around all day like this.
That's fine. It reminds me of you know, we do MMA on Film is another show we do on the channel, and one of the movies that we did is Warrior. I don't know if you've ever seen Warrior, but you know, similar situation there. But that was back before it was socially acceptable to be a more straight-laced lifestyle and fight as well. I mean, the sport has come a long way since then. So I'm thankful that that you were in at the time. Now that it's not a problem anymore, because it was certainly a problem for the character in the film.
Yeah. Yeah, I had mixed results or mixed support, you know, from admin, you know, but there were times where it was like they weren't so happy with me when I'm like, hey, I got to take off for a week, and you know, it is what it is.
Well, that would be the thing that I would be most curious about. I mean, there are times where you get the call. You know, we talk about that too, where you know they call you and it's just like drop everything and now you're in camp, or you know, for however long the camp can be. I mean, like, is that just something that, you know, like, is that what you're talking about there, where it's like, hey, you know, I got to leave now, sort of thing, or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know if I had any short notice ones when I was working full time, where I had to leave for a week, like a UFC fight, but like, you know, they fly you out Monday or Tuesday of every time you fight, and so you're gonna have to leave and be gone for 5 days. You get 10 days a year of sick leave, so once you've exhausted those, you know, you're going unpaid, and then, you know, and then there's just some discretion with admin, like, there, you know, like, the rules are, there aren't any real rules. Like, yeah, you're gonna go unpaid, but they, you know, they could eventually fire your ass if you're leaving enough, you know. And so I think, like, I had some admin that was super cool. They're like, dude, the kids freaking are motivated by this. Like, you inspire kids, you're good with the kids, and so we're gonna support you. And then I've had some who are a little bit more like, I don't know, not like outward, like you know, confrontational, or really say, I don't know, just like the vibes they send off, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm not teaching full time anymore, so.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
At the moment, but I am actually. I've been back in the classroom for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, well, that's very nice to hear, man. Hopefully gonna get back rolling, and you need to do everything that you do to get that going. So that's awesome.
No, I'm teaching a 7th grade science class. It's miserable.
Oh goodness.
I don't know. I mean, really, dealing with kids, I think would at times probably be more of a challenge than fighting.
No, I'm just kidding. I've been enjoying it. The teacher has cancer, and she tried to come back this year. She was out most of last year, and the second day of school, she got EMT'd out of the classroom. And they called me at 9 a.m. the second day of school and were like, "Can you come in?" And I've been there ever since. So I don't know how long I'm going to be covering for her, but as long as they need me, I guess, you know.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm sure she appreciates that under the circumstances. Hope she gets better.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, so listen, not to just make a bridge out of nothing here, but speaking of people who are going to need to get better, I mean, listen, this is the Contender Series still, of course, but I think this is an important one to talk about. This didn't happen, yesterday or Tuesday, that is.
Do you not have anything about Mir's mother?
Oh, yeah.
That you know about all that, right? Bella Mir's mother has been talking up a storm. I thought that was definitely going to be the way that we were finishing this one out. I apologize.
I did see it. Do you know exactly what it was? I didn't know that was like real. Like I was just like,
as far, I mean, that I guess is the question. At least the account looked real to me. Yeah, no. So I mean, if you can probably find it on Twitter. You know what I'm talking about, Cody? Yeah.
I didn't look into it a lot, but I did see that she dropped comments in this girl's Instagram like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, like repeated. That's the thing that was craziest to me is not, I mean, look, you know, she's a mother. She just saw her daughter lose, whatever. And again, we still got to vet whether or not that's actually the real account. There you go. Yeah, I got the check mark. I mean, I got to believe, right? So, yeah, you know, she's
Frank Mir's wife has a check mark and people are going like, that's definitely her. Like, I don't know. Like, you could buy that, can't you?
You make a good point, Chase. We have, I guess we're going to have to look into the actual account itself. But point is that this has been going around. And if this is her account, she has been out here fucking talking up a storm against this girl. Cause that was the thing that was crazy to me. Like 1 or 2, her daughter just lost, you know, big high profile fight for her, big, you know, stepping out into the mainstream, all of that. I get being upset about it, but to specifically go as hambone as she is against her opponent, you know, I mean, it's like, it's not just, man, I'm upset. It's fuck you, lady. Like, fuck you, little girl. All this shit she's saying.
You got to channel that anger, you know?
Yeah.
Into anything else. Join a knitting circle for fuck's sake. I mean, this is yeah. So anyway, I mean, I don't know, Chase, what do you think about all that?
I mean, it is kind of funny to think that the mom would run to the DMs and start talking shit. But I am still like, when I saw this, I'm like, okay, people just make accounts of anybody. Like the picture from here, that don't even look real. And it just says Miss Mir. I don't know, but maybe it is, maybe it's not. If she would have made a video, like I'll be like, all right, that's definitely her. If she would have got on there talking, but just one little comment, maybe there was more. This is just the first tweet that I saw, of course, about it. But sure, this is great. You know, stand up for your daughter. I love it. This is great. Maybe she was drinking a little wine that night. I'm not sure.
It could have been. Yeah, she reminds me a little bit of Mama Woodley. You know, Tyron Woodley's mom always gets out there and mixes it up in that kind of situation a little bit. But yeah, it seems a little bit beyond the pale, I would say. But like I said, you know, I can understand the upset, but I'm going to go with your theory here, Chase. I'm going to say that this is actually just AI. This is the dead internet theory going on here.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what is not AI. This is truthfully something that happened. You know, to use the real bridge into the next story. Of course, this is back to the Contender Series. Just a week ago, we had a brutal knockout of somebody who desperately needed it. We're just going to watch the quick clip of the knockout. Of course, it's a fella named Namo Fazil. I don't know if you were familiar with this knockout, Mr. Cody, but we will run it down really quick. It's a quick one, and yeah, we'll just do that.
Look at this. There it is. Look. He shape-shifts, bang. Oh. In our gym, we call that a shape-shifting shot. The way he stepped into it, look at that. He shape-shifts, boom.
Oh, I mean, that's...
Goodness.
That's as clean as an overhand right as you can get.
So, you know, the point of the KO is not necessarily the whole story. I mean, it's a beautiful shot, of course. Do you want to have any point to make on the shot itself? Of, you know, is this a great knockout, Cody? Let us know.
Oh yeah, it's a good knockout. He had, I mean, every ounce of everything was torqued the right way, and he just fucking. I mean, that was as clean as it was, almost cleaner than if it was like a sniper shot. You know. Mm-hmm. Like a sniper shot's clean as shit too, but this guy loaded up everything, leaning forward, everything's rotating, and you just fucking. That's pretty you're not gonna get a lot of those probably.
Well, and I don't know if you actually were watching the entire fight, but this was after 3 rounds of a war, man. So for him to pull this out, 12 seconds in the third is pretty nuts. Thinker, you want to make any comment on the finish itself before we move on?
We talked about it on the podcast, and I said, I mean, it's tremendous. It's just the wildness, and again, this is also after those first 2 rounds where it was this type of striking going both ways for the entire fight. It just felt like it was a little bit of a wild shot on top of all of the other wild shots. But what I said on the show, sometimes those shots, you're bringing it up from kind of underneath and going, sort of around the loop with it. They can be the most deadly shots if they land. It doesn't seem like the most technically sound way, because it would appear like if you back the tape up just a little bit, the way that he's he's like kind of like swinging it. I mean, like it seems like that's counter ready right there. If Namo had been anticipating it, if he was able to slip out, he would have been like in a decent counterable position. But he didn't get countered, and sometimes when you're swinging that way, they can connect in the most brutal ways, and it gave us this very nice highlight here. So I was all for it, even if it felt a little reckless.
Yeah, this was good, man. I really appreciated it. And I don't know if you guys knew that this was, the knockout was great. That was just a setup, the main point of it. I don't know if you've had generational haters, but I tell you, Fazil has made one, because Islam Dulatov, he has never even been seen up until this point. Like, he had a fight and pulled out on short notice, and now he's coming to talk on Twitter about this knockout. So I think it's key. We'll get into this, and obviously, Cody, we want your opinion.
What's up, Kai Brito? Congratulations on your huge win. Phenomenal performance. Won both rounds before and knocked him out bad in the third round.
Islam Dulatov is one of them. That
really
sexy boy.
You think he's sexy?
Ooh, bro, I want to lick him up and down. He's so
what?
Cute, he's soft, and they're giving him easy.
You want to lick him?
Yeah, man. Have you seen how he looks? To me, he's sweet. You know what I'm saying? To me, he's a feminine. He's a female to me.
As we know, the UFC is not giving any bonuses in the Contender Series, but the family Dulatov is giving $5,000 bonus to Kai Brito for this performance. Please, brother, contact me, send me your bank account, and we're gonna send you $5,000 today. And this is not a joke, I mean it's for real. And yeah, huge congratulations again. I think our princess is humbled now. And yeah, man, peace, all the best.
Yeah, so what do you guys say about that, Cody? I mean, obviously, we can get to the middle clip. I didn't even know this was going to cut into to the whole Fazil, kind of spiel there. But Islam Dulatov coming out of the woodworks to hate on my guy. What are you saying?
Is the dude who was saying he wanted to lick this guy, was he was the guy who said like 14 Chechens attacked him or some shit?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, yeah. Apparently during weight cut, 15 Chechens, including Baysengar Susurkayev, one of those.
Man, this guy's getting into all kinds of drama, and he didn't even win the fight.
Yeah.
That was kind of the point that I had made on the show too. I was saying that like if you're going to be this level of character where you're out there mixing it up with everybody, you've got people hunting you down, and he has a history of this too. Robert Valentin, our guy, maybe that's coming up.
Well, yes, we can pull that up really quick, because Robert Valentin, yes, he posted a whole spiel. I don't think we necessarily need to listen to him say it, because we could just watch the clip of Mr. Fazil from 2023. This is in some cafe or something, but this is a very funny video, by the way. So just
repeat offender here, Mr. Fazil.
If you were going to get slapped by 13 Chechens or whatever, I mean, it's probably because you did something like this in Chechnya. That's all that I'm saying.
I stabbed you. I fucking stabbed you.
All right, so Jesus.
You can almost hear the Benny Hill music, even if it's not playing. I also like that he yells, "I'm going to stab you," and then has to find the knife. He kind of telegraphed it a little bit,
Yeah, this guy seems like kind of a Dylan Dennis type character, huh?
Yeah, no, literally. Yeah, he's something certainly interesting for sure.
I mean, I don't know if Dylan's actually going out and doing all of that. I mean, maybe he'll take the shot if he's put in that position. It seems like Fazil is actually like pushing the envelope on it a little bit more. But this is exactly how you end up getting a gang of Chechens busting in the hotel while you're trying to cut weight, I suppose.
Yeah, he's crazy, man. I'll tell you what. Namo Fazil definitely has some aura behind him. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I want to see him make the comeback after getting knocked out like this. The story ain't over. Go.
Well, definitely not. And also, I was going to say, back to the Islam Dulatov clip. I do like the idea that Dulatov, obviously this dude. You said that we hadn't seen him in a long time. You know that we see him on runways from Paris to Tokyo. I mean, I like the idea that since he has all of this spare cash just lying around in the back of the Lamborghini, that he just pulls $5,000 out and just tosses it to Kaike over here. That might be life-changing money to that guy.
Well, key to note, it wasn't his money. He said the Dulatov family. So
the whole fam got together and pooled that money. It was like a crowdfunding within the Dulatov family.
Yeah, he's nuts, bro.
Jesus, he's Italian. Isn't he Italian?
He's
German.
Chechen
German.
Yeah, German by way of Chechnya.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I know. Interesting, huh? So he's something. I don't know why he hates Kurdistan, but he does. But other than hating, the Kurds like Islam Dulatov does, I'll tell you, Dana White. Now, genuinely, this clip that I'm about to play for you I think it's hilarious. But he, maybe, and other people in the room did not think it was as funny. But here's Dana White getting mad at a question from a reporter. Now, I want you to hear the question because it's so fucking funny for how he reacts to it.
Last week, Cody Gibson won by, amazing fashion, and now we have another exciting welterweight.
I'm going to restart it. Sorry, it was just really low.
Last week, Cody Gibson won by, amazing fashion, and now we have another exciting welterweight in Ronald Humphrey. Is that a fight that could possibly be on the cards?
I have no idea.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dana,
There's always got to be one horrible question. Congratulations, sir. It was you tonight. Yeah.
I hope mine's not horrible, but
Me too.
Now that you're
I hope mine's not horrible. That was great.
I mean, it's always it just seems like there's always going to be one of those times, like he said, not even that it's a horrible question, just always one of those things where he has to get that type of a jab in there,
Jesus.
Yeah, he probably just I'm sure him and Trump have had conversations like, hey, here's our strategy in front of the media, okay? If they start asking shit that we don't want to answer. I mean, that was kind of a stupid question. Like, hey, are these two guys from the Contender Series possibly someday going to fight? Like, yeah, maybe. Who fucking knows, I actually agree. It was this guy and the guy was super soft spoken. It's like, bro, you gotta fucking use your moment and get loud and ask your goddamn question. But with that said, he's done some recon, figured out hey, there's some psychological shit that if the media, how do you engage the media at these press conferences, at these, speaking events where you have to answer questions. You don't think that the guys learn some shit about how to do that in a way that, I don't know what the aim is or the goal, but there has to be one. I don't know.
Oh, the guy. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not lying. This dude's on the board of Meta now. He's in them boardrooms, brother.
Yeah, and I've been saying this for years and years that it never surprised me ever that him and Trump would be friends. And the aim, what you're saying, what the end goal is narrative shaping. Is to keep whatever the conversation is in basic control. Of how I want it to go or don't want it to go, to move it in a direction that makes the most sense for whatever I'm trying to accomplish. You see both of them doing that very effectively. So, yeah, a lot of crossover there.
When you talk about narrative shaping, listen, this obviously Dana is hilarious for this one, but I think another funny one is what we need to lighten the mood. We've been talking about Contender Series too much. We're wrapping up that portion, of course. Narrative shaping is exactly what this next one's about, and I think this one's really funny. Are you guys familiar with Henry Cejudo? Of course you are. Alrighty, we're going to get into a clip of Henry Cejudo breaking some bad news to Tracy Cortez. It's not necessarily bad news, but I think Henry Cejudo is the realest person ever for this clip, and I don't think anybody has ever been this real to Tracy Cortez. So we'll get into it real quick.
All right.
I know this camp for a fact. They trained me and prepared me to fight, but they didn't train me or prepare me to fight her.
At the end of the day, yeah, coach does help, but you've been coached by the best in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's on you.
Yeah. I know that.
I mean, that sounds pretty real to me.
Yeah, what are you saying, Cody?
Yeah, anytime any fighter tries to push blame onto anyone but themselves. If you have an issue with your coach, if your coach is not giving you what you want or think you need, then after the fight, you quietly relocate your camp, your coaches, you find someone else, but you don't blame it on them. Like they, like at the end of the day, like he's 100% right. It's like you have agency. You could do anything, like,
So then, but by that logic, would it have been appropriate for Cejudo to have gone as far as Dean Thomas?
You would think Cejudo to say what Dean Thomas did, where
Well, I mean, or just I'm just kind of making that bridge of just meaning like taking it over to Dean Thomas based on this is a little bit of a leapfrog. I mean, do you think that was appropriate at all? The way that he sort of navigated after he was not happy with his fighter, putting it all on her, basically.
Yeah, Dean Thomas was just an asshole. That whole thing was just like, what are you doing? He like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he was just frustrated in the moment, or you don't even know what the relationship's going on. Like maybe there's a rift, like. But yeah, he didn't come off very well, and then his apology didn't come off very well. And then like what was funny was because he works for the UFC and he's scheduled to be on X amount of events, like he was on like the next show. It's like, oh, I thought he might like disappear for a month or something and like, start reappearing. It was like, no, he's right back on there. It's like all this shit storm of the media is like surrounding him and everyone's talking shit. Everyone's coming out of the when Brendan Schaub's on this fucking podcast talking shit about you. You're like
yeah, and apparently still possibly going to be cornering Sean Brady after all of that too. I mean, like what a crazy full circle after all of that. He really got right back to square one and didn't have to go on that journey at all.
No, and I've always liked him. He's always been cool with me when I've been around him. He's always been a cool guy, but I don't know. It sucks because like all these guys end up working for the UFC, and then like I used to hate Michael Bisping back in the day when we used to be managed by the same management company, Paradigm Sports Management. So I met him quite a bit, and he just annoyed the shit out of me, and he was like when he spit in Jorge Rivera's face, I was like, fuck this guy, what an asshole. And he was like beating his ass too, I think. So it was like, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. And then when he got older and like, did what he did and he upset and he won the belt and everything. And I started liking him a lot, and like, dude, he's actually freaking pretty badass dude. And now he's like working in the UFC and sometimes he'll say shit and you're just like, dude, you're just like a corporate shill. And that sucks,
No, absolutely. Yeah. Too, sometimes they be saying, like you said, Dean Thomas, dude, the fact that he had to be back on TV the next day. It was the same day because the card ended after midnight. So he had to get up and come back to Deep Waters and start talking his shit one more time, So it's just Dean Thomas really did not do himself any justice on that one, I tell you.
Well, I mean, and in a similar way of, perceptional shifting here, I as much as I find Henry Cejudo to be, as cringy as he wants people to believe him to be, I do appreciate this realness with Tracy Cortez here. That's kind of what she needs to hear, I guess, right?
Well, Tracy Cortez may need to hear a lot of things. Henry Cejudo giving it, but I think he may need to take it too, because I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys knew. He's now going to be boxing here soon. Henry Cejudo is coming out of retirement, guys. He's going to be boxing. What is it, Dean the Great? Is that who that is? I don't even know.
I think it is Dean the Great. Our old buddy Dean the Great. You could not pay me any amount of money to watch Henry Cejudo boxing pseudo-influencer kick streamer Dean the Great. I don't understand. I mean, this right here is like, we're getting to pinnacle peak of like influencer fighter crossover, like slop, really. I mean, this is like, I would say that this is getting to that level. So Cejudo being, the triple C, all of that coming from his wrestling accolades and, his time in MMA, of course, but not necessarily ever known for his striking specifically, now having to go box this essentially a rando dude. I mean, a guy who's orbits a little bit of combat, but not much beyond that, and is just a pest on kick. Like, I don't think that it really gets much worse than this. I don't know.
They must be paying him some money because he's got to be I've heard they're making good money in Roth. That's why they're getting all the MMA guys, is because they're paying and there's a huge difference between telling someone I'm going to pay you X amount to get into a fucking cage fight and saying, hey, I'm going to pay you X amount to get into a wrestling match. Like, I'll fucking wrestle every day. Like, give me like $2,000, like $3,000. I'll do it every day. Like, I'll have a match every week with every influencer, with every and they always do like mismatches. They'll have like a 2-time world champion going against like fucking Bilal Muhammad or something, and it's like, hey, wonder who's gonna win this one.
Yeah, like everybody who was surprised when Joaquin Buckley didn't win at RAF. But you'd probably do pretty good at RAF, man. I mean, that might be a bridge that you might want to cross at some point if it's available to you.
You got to be a big name, I feel like, or you got to be like one of the RAF annoys the shit out of me. I like it. I like the fact that they're getting wrestling some pop, but. And I understand the whole bring in the MMA fighters to help boost the whole sport and everything, but all they'd have to do is, personally, I think you lead with your MMA fighters. They are starting to have like an MMA belt where it's like the MMA fighters against the MMA fighters. I think that's a good idea, but you lead with them, and then you highlight your senior level wrestlers as your main event. You tell their stories, and you let the MMA fighters be the names that draw people there, but hopefully stay for, putting the spotlight back on the sport of wrestling instead of putting fucking Dylan Dennis on there to try a fucking heel hook right away and then Chimaev. Everyone's mad at Chimaev because he threw a punch. Like, bro, he's not even doing wrestling. He's trying to choke him out. Or it was not a heel hook. It was a fucking guillotine, just straight to a guillotine. Like, what are you doing? He should have kicked his face off.
We've seen some of that in RAF, though. I mean, that's what bothers me about RAF is that I thought that it was going to be a really good elevation of freestyle wrestling on a broader stage, and really what it's become is this secondary side quest for MMA fighters, and then just a bunch of extracurricular fucking brawls and all this other nonsense that ends up happening at those events, and Armand sending poor Uriah Faber off the side of the platform, and it's just it turns into a circus over there.
I think Eric Bischoff, man, I don't know about that guy.
There you go. Hulk Hogan wanted it to be real American for a reason. They're carrying on a fine tradition.
Yeah.
No, listen. I actually think this is I'm glad you spoke it into existence, guys. If anything we can do, get Cody a job, get him some payments from RAF. If he's interested and they're willing, I'm down to see it, man.
I think you'd be tremendously successful over there if they if that's possible for you.
No, absolutely. Listen, I'll tell you another place that'll get you. You'll be extremely successful, but I don't know if you'd actually get paid. Karate Combat, dude. They'd give you anybody out there. They would prop you up to beat anybody over there. I just don't know if the money is actually made. I don't know. So
yeah, I've heard that people don't get paid.
See, look, and if you're hearing the same thing we're hearing, listen, all that I'm saying is somebody might be right. So whatever.
I mean, you might get paid in a crypto coin that it's going to the moon eventually. Just hang on to it for the next 150 years. You'll be fine.
Dude, I fought for some promotions where it's just straight mob money. It's like money laundering, and you're just you just kind of it's there, it exists, and there's people around. There's gangsters and shit around in suits, and you're like, all right, I'm just here to fight. Just want to get paid and get out of here and not get killed by these mobsters. Dude, some of these East Coast promotions, I'm pretty sure they're just money laundering schemes.
I've heard stories about that too, for sure. Yeah. Well, glad you left with all your fingers and toes intact.
Yeah. Well, listen, speaking of word getting around, I think the next story, it has to do with somebody else for context, of course. And the somebody else is somebody that we are not necessarily fans of. And then the other person who's telling the story is somebody probably not necessarily a lot of people are a fan of. But I think it's interesting that so for context, we have Nina Drama, and she's going to tell a story. but I don't think she reads the room well. So here she's going to talk to Gable Stevenson about a notorious stalker or some incident of whatever. We'll get into it.
My number, that phone number got leaked.
Oh, shit. Let me turn it up. Sorry, this shit is like really quiet.
My number, that phone number got leaked on the internet. And so I was getting like 100 phone calls a day.
From the one you gave me?
Random people. Yeah, from random people. I still have the phone
so
number.
So you shut off the text message?
No, I don't know what happened. But that number got leaked on the internet, and then I got a stalker. And then the stalker was crazy. He was out of his fucking mind. He wouldn't stop harassing me. And he was sending me like cartel beheadings and all this kind of stuff. So I told Dana. And Dana was like, hold on, babe, 1 minute, right? And then 2 seconds later, I had counterterrorism call me, and then they showed up at my house. And then they took all my information, and by the next morning, they found my stalker.
Damn.
And they put him on a no-fly list so that you can never come to Vegas.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was he pulling up to your crib?
He was like, I know where you live, and then he was saying I love what you did to your house, like Christmas decorations.
You should have
I love
put the
this,
button
I love
on
that.
him.
And then I told Dana. I literally told Dana, and he was like, 1 second, babe. And then counterterrorism showed up. So if you're ever thinking about fucking with me, you're gonna be stranded in mom's basement somewhere.
Damn.
Well, anyway, so I'm wondering if Gable was sitting here thinking like, damn, they could really take me away at any fucking time if they wanted. Jesus.
You got to know that that's a possibility with the connections that the boss man has, right? I mean, again, we talked about Uros Medic asking, for a visa and then just boom, getting one. I mean, this is, how high up the boss goes at this point. We were literally just talking about it.
I also find it interesting that she's telling this story to a guy who's like, doesn't have like rape accusations.
Yes, bro. That's why this is crazy. Read the room, Nina. Like, Jesus. Like, this dude was probably, he is worse, bro. Like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because in his own mind, though, he doesn't equate the two because it's like, well, I mean, I wasn't stalking anybody, though. I mean, she was just passed out.
Bro, at the end he was like, man, you should have aired him out. It's like, bro, what do you think people are saying they should do to you, man? Like, Jesus Christ, brother. Like, holy God.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it a million times at this point. I'm waiting for the press conference where he gets an opponent who's actually going to take him to task and really, air it out in a major way at some point, like really bring it to him because I don't think anybody really has yet.
That's what's going to be interesting. Yeah, dude, no, and that's what, listen, I don't know if you've heard Gable, like his press stuff, but he's like a PR robot to an extent. So if somebody really tries to make him, break that character, it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts because, bro, like what could you even say in response to if anybody calls you out on that? Like, you got to just shut up. Like, I don't know.
He's had the John Jones media training. It's just, it's either going to be no comment or maybe a little bit of I used to be a different person kind of stuff, I would think. That's pretty much the only two ways you can go with his history.
Yeah, brother. I don't know, but what do you think about Dana calling Nina babe and him calling counterterrorism, by the way? Like, why not, out of all the places he could have called, with leeway, like, who does he know at counterterrorism? He knows Kash Patel personally at the FBI. But counterterrorism for a stalker? Listen, I hope Nina got that fact. Maybe she's just being hyperbolic. But Dana, stop using our resources like this, bro. Like, there are tax dollars that people have to pay for this shit. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, she's a private citizen. I think that it's okay to, help her in that way, I suppose, if you have the ability to. But, again, it's just nice to have friends in high places, I suppose. But I wanted to ask, because this does kind of bring up a question now in my mind here. Cody, you're an upstanding member of society here. You a public good you do as a teacher, all that kind of stuff. Does it ever get strange being in a space with so many less than savory people at times? I mean, not that you necessarily interacted with Gable specifically, but I'm sure you've been around some people who might have been involved in some things that are less than above board. Does that ever kind of play in your mind in any which way?
No, I mean, you're at the gym. You're like, the variety of people that train with you every day. Like, I got guys wearing ankle monitors, and I got guys who are dentists, and accountants, and like fathers of three, and like mothers, and like you get a variety of people in martial arts gyms, so it's no different in fighting, and it's no different in school. There's a variety of kids and a variety of adults, and school, being a teacher actually can be very isolated if you want to be, like, depending on who you are and how you kind of move about campus. But you could kind of like, there's days I would not talk to a single adult, like I would just talk to the kids and get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
very
I definitely,
interesting.
I definitely get it, man. I definitely get it. I don't know. Well, listen. So, speaking of Gable, just to wrap back to the whole story about Gable, I think it's a perfect tie-in for the next story. Not necessarily anything to do about his accusations, because they don't need to stay in the past. We need to never forget, but they need to just be out of this podcast for a second. Because if you did not know, Gable Stevenson, along with Patty Pimblett and Max Holloway, are all being fined $2,500 for their hopping of the cage. What do you think about this? I mean, Cody, have you ever been a victim of the cage hopping fines? I mean, is this? I don't know. This is a crazy thing, and we'll obviously get into more about it. But fining somebody for hopping on the cage is pretty nuts, bro.
Yeah, it's stupid. I mean, you have to be consistent with your rules. If that's your rule and you say, hey, if you hop on the cage, you're going to get fined $2,500, then that just applies across the board for everybody. If a fighter wants to do it, if it's fucking Patty Pimblett and he's making 1.5 and he's like, fuck it, I want to climb the cage, then let him do it. Me personally, I'm just going to like wave at my family, like, and it's also funny, like, just the idea that like these athletic commissions, man, if there's one thing I've learned about fighting in the last fucking 2 decades, it's that these athletic commissions are, man, they're supposed to be protecting the fighters, and they're supposed to be, it's just not what it, I think, was intended to be. It's not, it hasn't panned out like it was intended to pan out, in my opinion. And fucking Andy Foster, Jesus Christ, dude, you don't even want to get me started.
You could see me holding my tongue back so goddamn far on this one. I don't know if you saw the most recent couple of videos that came out on the channel about this very subject. If you have not seen the most recent one, did a whole video essay about the lack of consistency, really hit all of the points from the video. Actually, it was about the death of Pritchard Colon, and how all of that sort of played in with the commissions and everything. And it was pretty biting, my opinions about how the oversight of the sport is handled, and you nailed it succinctly with the word inconsistent. Lack of consistency is basically the theme of the essay. So yes, I echo your sentiments in a big way when it comes to how this sport is overseen and how the rules are doled out, and lack of consistency is the only consistency, it seems.
Yeah, and I mean, you got Andy Foster out there lobbying for the goddamn boxing bill.
Sick.
Like,
yeah,
what are you doing, dude? Like, they're not supposed to be like, we're trying to get the UFC to come to California so we can make money. Like that, if that's the model of an athletic commission, like, we need to fucking change the model. Like, that's not the way it's supposed to be, in my opinion,
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, this is, I think even a couple of years ago, I had done the video about USADA's breakup with the UFC. And I talked a little bit about some of this at the very end of that video. And, I was saying there that, no fighters union, no health insurance, health care, and no post-career support. None of that has changed. But what has changed is the relationship and the cozying of these commissions with the major promotions. It seems to just continue to go in that direction. Andy Foster is certainly a part of that. So what you see a lot of times now, at least what I've observed, is Andy Foster he acts as sort of the face of commissions. He's the head of the ABC, so it's like he's the face of everything. And so he'll get asked these questions that seem like they're somewhat softball. I mean, not that they necessarily always are, but like, for example, like something like along the lines of knees to a grounded opponent was a question that came up not too long ago for him. And he went through all of his reasonings, this and that. And those end up being like the shaping of the narrative from his side, when everything that we're just talking about here with fighter safety and consistency and rule enforcement, Herb Dean with the back of the head elbows, those kinds of things never end up entering that conversation. So he almost gets shielded from that while still cozying up with the promotions and doing like what you're saying, possibly, shaping a little bit of the narrative to move the promotions into the state more, generate revenue. It goes so far. Like I said, I'll cap it off there, but suffice to say, it certainly is something that is concerning to me.
Yep, I can go on as well.
Yeah.
Listen, hey, that could be a different stream for another time. You guys can have your moment to go on about the regulations and all that stuff. But right here, right now, I think it is obviously just to go on this point about the fines. I think Michael Bisping here had a really great thing to say. It's not really great. It's obviously just kind of common sense is that, Patty Pimblett jumped on the cage like a lot of fighters do. It's the athletic commissions trying to get a few bucks for themselves, and whatever they're going to do with the money that they get, I don't know. They're not changing shit. They're not implementing new things. So who's getting this money? And that the $2,500, who is this actually going to is the real question.
Yeah, I mean, it's why, like, they don't have enough money coming in from every time that they're involved with a fighting organization. They sanction all the fights for all of the promotions. I mean, like, they're doing just fine in that regard. And then, like you say, what are they spending that money on? It's certainly not on more referees. It's certainly not on better training. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's certainly not on the things that are going to actually improve the sport overall or make it safer for the fighters. So yeah, what does that just go into a big, maybe they put it into a big vault like Scrooge McDuck and they just all swim in it.
Herb Dean swims in it, of course.
Backstroking.
It's Christmas bonus money.
Literally, Jesus Christ. I mean, well, Christmas bonus. Well, I'll tell you what, it wasn't a Christmas bonus. Speaking of Michael Bisping, this was just the bridge to the next one. This was interesting just to bring up because there was a time where Michael Bisping got knocked out. And I think this is key that we just kind of run through. You've seen this knockout before, of course, but we'll just run it down really quick. I think this is in slow motion, so I already have it skipped just a little bit ahead. But we'll run it down really quick. Okay,
classic.
well, it is classic for sure. Cody, do you want to say anything about that one? I mean, we talked about the other knockout. You can have your moment on this one as well.
Yeah, I mean I was so stoked when that happened. I remember it. And Hendo that second shot was what was like you almost like have to look away because you're like, oh my god, dude, this guy is just fucking dead.
The H-bomb.
Yeah,
and it's coming from Hendo who threw like so hard,
Jesus, yeah, no, this one was epic, but it's not necessarily the knockout itself. It's just this point that a tweeter made. This KO was so bad that in Bisping, he said in his book that he has no memory of the fight and only fully regained consciousness when he was in the shower and didn't know why he was wet. When his manager told him that he got knocked out, he was confused and thought the fight was still 2 months away. So this one was just interesting to read as like, we're talking to Cody Gibson, somebody who has been in the sport, somebody who has unfortunately suffered knockouts as well. What would you like to say to this point? It's like, not necessarily have you experienced something to this level or anything similar to that, but like, this is a dangerous sport, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I worry about you when it comes to stuff like this. When I read this, I was like, bro, I'm about to talk to Cody Gibson. This shit is crazy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I never got hit by Hendo, but
thank God for that.
Yeah, man, I don't know, I feel like when you're young, you're like, you don't give a shit, and then when you get older, you definitely start thinking about it a little bit more. And it's not even just about the brain stuff, which you do think about, but it's more about just how fucked up your body is and like all the injuries and like, my son wants to play all the time. We got a trampoline. And he always wants to jump on the trampoline. And there's days, especially in training camp, where I'm like, I don't got it in me today, man. like I'm just fucking sore, and I like need to get on a roller. And so yeah, I think it's more for me. It's more the body. I mean, yeah, the head too. But I only got knocked out once, and I never got knocked out in the gym. I never got concussed in the gym where I felt like it was concussion syndromes, like throwing up or like, that kind of stuff. I know guys who had like crazy syndromes from concussions and just from training. Chris Holdsworth is one that comes to mind. Just kept getting concussions in the gym. That's a good story about TJ Dillashaw being an asshole. And then who else is another good example? There's a couple of good ones.
The O'Hare, right?
Oh, my buddy Mason Fowler, the guy who's the UFC BJJ champ.
Nice. Good
So
call out. Hell yeah.
he's got a win over Craig Jones. Like, he's one of the best in jiu-jitsu. And he was an amateur fighter from Fresno when I first started training with him, when I would go up to Fresno to train about an hour north of where I grew up. And he was like decent. Like, I think he was like 4-2 as an amateur. He's a purple belt, definitely a grappler based, guy. But he kept getting concussions in the gym, like, constantly. And then he just said, screw this, I'm done fighting. I'm going to, invest all my time and energy into jiu-jitsu. And now he's like he probably makes more money in jiu-jitsu than fucking 70% of the UFC roster,
Yeah.
Worked out.
No, it definitely did. I mean, I did not know that. Listen, it is just sometimes I agree that everybody, everybody's different, and everybody's going to get the same amount of, concussions or damage, in training and or in fights. But, when you hear a story like this from Bisping, and this is a guy who also lost an eye during, his combat sports career. I mean, this dude really kind of went through it for the love of the martial arts, and I do respect him out of that. Like, that's the ultimate goal, it's just the martial arts, the passion for it. And Bisping was able to, I mean, he was willing to endure a lot, is what I would say there. So shout out to him.
And along the same line of conversation here, because I think that this is good for potentially more of the casual fans out there. We had a situation just recently, and this is just an example of one, but Ryan Coos just fought. He fought Marcio Barbosa on the last card there, and that knockout was an interesting one because he got clipped on the top of the head, and then he sort of went down and was kind of stationed. Did you see that fight, Cody? I don't know if you caught that one.
Yeah, he was like a wrestler dude, white dude, like a goatee or long hair, and he was fighting that Brazilian who hit like a horse, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about there. So yeah, he goes down and he's on the ground there, and eyes wide open, but you could kind of tell if you're looking at it that he was just not there. So I mean, I guess I would just, like, for the casual audience, it's like there is an acknowledgement that, like, no two knockouts are the same, and that people react to them differently, because I can guarantee you that some of the less informed viewers of the sport would look at that and be like, well, why didn't he just move? Why was he just sitting there? And so, like, I think that it's important for there to be an acknowledgement that, like, he was not able to do that. Like, that was a knockout, even if it didn't look like the traditional one.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because in boxing, they have, like, they stop the fight when there's a knockdown, and then they give the guy a standing, they count to 10, and the guy has to show that he's back up and, like, fully there and not wobbly kneed or, like, stumbling around. He has to be present, and then the fight continues. And in MMA, I mean, it's so different, which is, I mean, I love MMA, so it is what it is, even the violent part of it. But it is weird when you see guys say things about knockouts and then, like, you put it in contrast to what boxing is, and you're like, bro, we're, like, it's way worse in some ways. But I mean, you also can get knocked down, I don't know. In boxing, in my opinion, the head trauma stuff is still worse in boxing. And my main rationale around that is that you spend all of your time punching each other in the head. I spend a good amount of my time punching each other in the head, but not as much as you. You also wear 16-ounce gloves, and you hold them up to your head as pillows to protect yourself in some instances in boxing with a high helmet guard. And every time it hits your head, it's rattling your brain. And I don't train like that, where I'm just, like, constantly fucking taking shots, even through the temple or just through the head, getting in tons and tons of boxing rounds, like, on a weekly basis. And especially in a lot of boxing gyms and the culture in them where the guys fucking sling them, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
Yeah, well,
I'm just like, I'm just trying to, like, believe that, like, nah, boxing's fucking worse, man.
Well, I mean, thankfully there's no there's no push for the necessity for you have to ever go into that world if you don't want to. Thankfully, I mean, I've always this kind of goes back to that other point we were making before. It's like there's no definitive need for these worlds to all cross over, but for some reason, because they're similar but different, there's like this constant conversation surrounding if you went here and if you did this, it's like everybody just pick a lane and stick to it. Whatever makes you feel good.
This next one's going to be really good. So, obviously, The Ultimate Fighter is something that is currently airing. The last episode just happened on Tuesday. Cody Gibson is, a tough alum. This is awesome to have him here, that we get to hear some, first-person perspective on some things. But I just wanted to share that. Let me preface first. I am going to finish watching the last episode on stream with everybody. I have not yet, but we are going to just go ahead and spoil it right now because I'm very happy to say Muhammad Ali went ahead and got himself a victory, is what it looks like. And we'll just go ahead and watch the finish real quick, just because I think it segues perfectly for what we're going to get into. But just endure this really quick for me, buddy.
You got it.
$2,500 first off, and second, I didn't know he put him unconscious, bro. Muhammad Ali is the man, brother.
It was fantastic. I hate that it was this guy. I mean, like this dude is, there's always a couple, or at least one. It seems like every season, and he is certainly the one of this season that just rubs me the wrong fucking way, man. This guy is such a prick.
Yeah, Cody, have you been keeping up with this season? Do you normally keep up with the seasons themselves as somebody who's been on the show? Do you normally try to watch all of them or what?
Dude, I'll be honest. I don't watch The Ultimate Fighter.
He's just like everyone in the community. It is a rare breed that still pays attention to this show, man.
Yeah, dude.
He hit him in a buggy choke, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy in my gym always tries to buggy choke me. And every time he fucking gets the buggy choke or even attempts to get it, I just stand up and start fucking doing circles and just launch his ass like across the gym.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
But either way, what a great story. No.
That would be great, though, if he did just end it on that. I just launch him across the gym.
I just launch him across, and then my laptop.
I'm fucking out of here. Yeah. All that needs to be said. Well, we'll see if Cody rejoins with us here in a second.
We'll chill for a second. Wow, what a funny guy, man.
But yeah, no, I mean, I mean, I guess, like you said, you spoiled for yourself. I had already seen it. So, not a big deal. But what I wanted to say about it, apparently we all got bad information about him being on the Contender Series, I guess. I guess we were all thinking it was Muhammad Ali that just lost.
I think that was what it was. I think there was maybe just a misinterpretation because this is Muhammad Ali, but it's not. It's Muhammad Ali, So
right.
Either way, just so we can talk about it while we wait for Cody, of course, this is epic. For some reason, it's like you just know sometimes, it's like because the show is set up for you to watch and see character development. So they know who's that guy kind of deal. They show a lot more because they know who wins the goddamn fights. And so I feel like the camera there was the golden ray around Muhammad Ali, man. Obviously he hasn't won yet, but for Christian Strong, was that his name?
Yeah.
Dude, NPC as they come. This is what he gets, bro. I'm not going to lie, bro. Muhammad Ali is a star. Christian Strong deserves to fucking lose.
He certainly talks like one. But this, he did deserve it in this fight. And what we said about Christian, I don't want to go too deep into it because you're going to watch it. But, Christian, he has a very distinct game plan that he sticks to. It's very defined. And when you have a guy who's dynamic, that's if I can give a compliment to Muhammad Ali, it is that he is a dynamic fighter. He is one dude who will adjust on the fly. He's not going to stay stationary for you. He's not going to give you the fight that you want, which, Christian Strong kind of thrives in an environment where that is more the case, where he's able to, get his wrestling off and hold people in place. Like Muhammad Ali wasn't, he's not going to have that. So I do think, and again, in the grand scheme of things, this definitely is going to make for a better finale than it would have with Christian Strong, because we know that on the other side is Illenbeck.
Yes, no, that is going to be a really good fight. I mean, I'm wondering, I'm wondering too with that fight, Elenbek from Uzbekistan, right?
Yeah,
Kazakhstan,
Kazakhstan.
and our guy Muhammad Ali being Azerbaijan. I wonder if we're going to get some regional beef. I wonder if Muhammad Ali is going to come out here and say, "I don't like him because he's from that place," you know?
Well, I am not going to say anything more about the episode of Tough that you are going to be watching. So that's
That
we'll leave it there.
Well, that is a really good point. I tell you though, we have to just wait because this was as the worst time for Cody to accidentally disconnect because the next story is only predicated on Cody being here.
Oh my
So
goodness! All right, let me send him a quick message
we
just
can
to see if
we can fill some time though. If you guys didn't
Sure.
know, Valentina Shevchenko and her sister
Perfect.
danced on a show. So we're gonna watch this really quick.
Yes.
Oops, let me. Do we want to mute it for the?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're probably gonna get dinged for a couple of things this episode, but yeah, that might be the smarter. And actually, yeah. Perfect timing.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
go ahead. I mean, we could start off with this, and we'll get into the next thing here. Let's see if we can bring Cody back in. We got audio, but no video on you, Cody. There he is.
There we go. Okay. Well, Cody, I know we were having a.
Sorry, guys.
You're great, man. Hey, we're glad you're back. That was a great. Do you want to finish telling your story about you slinging your guy across the gym, or was that just the end of it? Is that he just gets slung every time he?
That
tries?
was it. That's all I had. Anytime I see a damn buggy choke, his name's Todd, and I always tell him, dude, stop freaking trying to buggy choke me. That shit never works.
Yeah.
It does work if you just sit there and freaking get locked down into it. But as soon as he starts creeping up with it at all, I just stand up and start doing helicopter spins just to mess with him.
Then you're certainly a more dynamic fighter than Christian Strong was because staying there and allowing it to happen, that's kind of his style, kind of what he brings to the table.
You know what I'll actually bridge and ask from this? You know, speaking of the buggy choke, this actually being applicable and working in an MMA, bout or whatever, we don't really see it that often. But what we are seeing more recently, and by recently I mean a handful of times, is the Scottish twister or Japanese twister, depending on where you're from. Cody, have you experienced this in the gym? Are people catching you with the Scottish twister and or the regular twister more frequently than you feel like they have, or are you using it to your advantage? What's the deal?
I try to twister, and I try that Scottish twister like all the time now.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I always love trying stupid ass moves that are just like, like catch on and you're like, oh, I got to do this one. And then I'll like try it in live competition, like live goes. So I'm like, all right, I got his back. Now I'm going to make him feel like he's getting out. And I'm going to try that twister thing. And it never works, but I try it. And then I fought Damon Blackshear, and he had hit a twister in a UFC fight. And so then I was like, I'm not getting twisted on national television, dude. Not happening. So I brought in this black belt who was really good he wasn't necessarily like a specialist with a twister. He was just a really good on the back, like back take guy, had a ton of submissions, ton of weapons. And he could do a twister pretty good too. But we brought him in, and he was like, I would spend an hour with him just on my back for an hour session where I had to just either escape, we reset, he submit me, we reset, or I just get the shit beat out of me with him on my back for an hour.
Epic. Yeah, dude, that sounds grueling, I'll tell you that. But you know what I will say? This is going along with Tough. Again, we get to have a moment with you from the Ultimate Fighter that I didn't think you'd expect to see. But I'm going to bring it up for you. And this is something that, when I originally watched the Ultimate Fighter, there was unexpected error. Oh, brother. Hold on.
Refresh.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just. But when I would watch The Ultimate Fighter, and when I became a fan of yourself, of course, this is one of the clips that I remember seeing. And this specific part of it, I want to just get your opinion on what you think and how this ages for you. What you said in it was very insightful, of course. And I think it's going to be a little loud, so let me just turn it down a little. But sorry for the fam. I know she said she didn't even want to be in these clips, but here she is.
We got her.
Yeah, so we'll listen to this. Oops, sorry, we were already full screen. Okay.
Yeah, of course, obviously you have aspirations to be a champion, but at the end of the day, if I could retire and put my hat on the hook and say, hey, if nothing else, this helped me put my family in a situation where they got to grow up in a great community and raise my family and kind of ride off into the sunset that way, be a happy man.
So, do you feel like you've accomplished that right there? Obviously title aspirations are something that everybody who joins the UFC probably has at one point or another. But do you feel like you've accomplished your ultimate goal of, you know, setting the fam up? You know, obviously I see the garage, man. It's looking like you're in a home, man. This is awesome. So I mean, good stuff going from here, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I always, you always think I want to have made more money, and especially when they switched to the goddamn $100,000 bonuses. You know, I was like, all right, I got to get a couple of these before I'm done. You know? So I mean, you always are gonna feel like you should have done more, or you could have done more, but yeah, I mean, honestly, the best thing that's happened for us with fighting was that lawsuit money. We got like 70. I got like 75K from that.
Damn.
Yeah, glad it was something.
That helped me. That helped me open my gym. Like I used like 50K to open the gym.
That's awesome.
And so and now I've got this little gym, and like I'm still learning. Like still learning how to be an accountant and how to be in marketing and wear all these different hats, and like either learning or you outsource when you have to outsource, but you try to learn shit and do it like yourself as much as you can. And so it's still been a process, but it's been fun, and like it's a cool little side hustle venture, and I get to teach martial arts, which is fun too. I got like you just get like these middle-aged dudes, and they're like dad, and like they do their job, and then like they've never grappled before, and then like seeing them grow over the course of just 5 months, it's like, dude, this is pretty rad.
Well, so you being a teacher, obviously now you're in the point of your life where you get to teach martial arts, MMA or whatever. Do you feel like this is like your purpose? Like you feel like this is the end goal that you were looking for, or at least the one that found you and you're happy with, kind of deal?
Yeah, I enjoy just like passing on martial arts and just wrestling and jiu-jitsu and striking and like coaching kids wrestling. I still do that too, and just passing on martial arts because it benefited my life so much. It's cool to like give it back to other people, and like it's cool to see all different people, like whether it be young people, like a 4-year-old in my little Pee-wee program and their growth, or my 44-year-old, who's like, hey, he's shrimping out there now, like, hey, he's starting to move, like he's understanding the concept, and like that's cool too,
Hell yeah, that's
Love
awesome.
it. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely, get your plugs on all of that and make sure you shout it out and stuff. And also, we'll talk privately about some marketing assistance with that. I might know somebody who could help you out. So, but
nice.
There you go. All right, Chase, what's
Well,
we got?
and this was just, talking about at the end of careers, from Cody himself here back in 2023 or 2022, whenever this would have been recorded, some time away. Speaking of, the end of the line, Chris Cyborg was going to retire after her last title fight against Ketlin Vieira, and Ketlin missed by 7 pounds or whatever the hell it was. So the title got pulled from the matchup. And from what I heard, and this is before this, you sent me this this link, Thinker, but from what I heard, once the title was pulled, that was official. She was going to fight again. Like, I'm going to defend the belt kind of deal. So I didn't know she had officially said that I'm going to retire, but then walked it back. So here's at least, an article saying that she's not retiring. I don't know if that changes anything for anybody. Cody, do you think Chris Cyborg is, one of the greatest, of course, but, where do you think her not retiring is going to lead to, of course? Is she just going to defend the belt once more? Is she just going to go on another crazy run? Because she hasn't even lost in like fucking 9 years or something.
And the PFL is now changing into MVP, so that could be a part of that dynamic too,
And before you go, Cody, just make sure you think on this one. MVP could be calling. So now go ahead. But
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's in a position where she'll be a part of a big card, like I could see her on a Netflix card as like a main card fight,
Oh yeah.
And if they're paying like they did, and they did the last one they had in LA or whatever, they paid pretty fucking good. There's a kid from LA, he was in the UFC for a while. He's like, but he fights like on the regional scene now, and like he's okay. He's a 135 pounder, so I kind of follow him. And he got on that card and he made like 50K.
Damn.
And I was like, this guy's been fighting for 3 or 4K for the last like 4 years. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see them actually starting to potentially put a little bit of money into it. That's the big $1 million question, no pun intended, when it comes to Jake Paul and this MVP experiment with MMA. Is, he's been very vocal about fighter pay, which is something that resonates with me, of course. And is he going to put his money where his mouth is? Are they actually going to start, making some improvements over there and getting these people paid accordingly?
Yeah, this will be good. I'm excited to see what happens. Listen, Jake Paul, I got a guy he's wanting to get some money. So keep us on speed dial is what I'll say. Go ahead, Thinker.
Sure, yeah. And also the reason I wanted to bring this story up was because I thought it was interesting, at least as it was described to me. Now, I mean, Cyborg might have a different version of how she would recount the story or everything. But the way that it seemed to me was that prior to the weight miss, that the promotion was pushing her retirement because this was the last fight on her contract. So they were basically like, Cyborg's last hurrah for the marketing of it, when she never really even said that was going to be the case one way or another. It just happened to be the last fight on the contract. So it seemed slightly underhanded to me as far as like a promotional tactic goes. Like, you're putting that on the fighter without them necessarily committing to that decision. So I don't know if that plays in any kind of thought on this, or if Cody, if you've experienced any kind of like underhanded promotional tactics of that sort, or similar.
Well, definitely on the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, that was the whole like show. Or they would just try to like push a narrative that might have been some small incident that like one person said something. And I hate to defend Brad, but there was this like he was late sometimes to the van, like we would all be in there and he'd be like a few minutes late. And I remember being annoyed with it like once or twice, and a couple of other guys got annoyed with it once or twice. But first of all, he didn't do it like every time. It was like it happened a few times, and like someone was like, "Hurry the fuck up, Brad," or something like that, But it was like a comment, and then like that was it. And then like for some reason, like the producers of the show, like every night, so what's going on with Brad in the car? And he's showing up late. How mad is everyone? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, that's, it's fun. So, I mean, I guess, for the record right now, Brad, not as much of a diva as the show made him out to be, because that was certainly the narrative on the show, right? Brad Katona is a diva.
Yeah, and he was. There were things about him that were diva, but I'll give him that. It wasn't that he was late every single time to the van. It happened a couple times.
Well, then that also leads me to my second question here, because on that season, and I didn't know if we were going to go in this direction, but I'm glad that we got here. There were a couple of little incidents here and there, and obviously with Connor on the show, that made it its own dynamic and all of that. But of the people that actually had a little bit of that reality show kind of cattiness, I don't know, the confrontational elements, you were actually one of the dudes that had the most with Brad before your fight. And I wanted to know how much of that was show related that they built up, or how much of that was actually coming from you.
No, a lot of it was just me getting annoyed after a while, like you sit there and watch him do stupid shit over and over, and you're just like, this guy, dude, this guy. and then you're cutting weight, and like you're living with these guys, like, and so you're just kind of like, we were toward the end of it, and I was just like, I fucking had it with this guy,
dude. Heard enough guitar playing love songs back home, huh? It was always funny to me. He was writing his poetry and whatnot.
I actually thought Brad was funny. Like he was like the guy on the show to me who was like weird and the kind of like comical, like, I don't know, like he'd always say some funny shit or like do something stupid. Like he was kind of like just I don't know how to describe him, but I actually didn't hate him on the show. Like but then he got annoying at the end, and I started chirping at him, and then I just wanted to beat his ass. And then he didn't even beat Timur. I saw Timur in Abu Dhabi a couple months, last month or whatever, and got to train with him and hang out with him. And I was like, dude, I think back to it, I'm like, you fucking won that semifinals fight, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy that you mentioned that. I actually had thought that he was based on his record and getting let go from the promotion and then fighting in that fight. It was amazing to me that he was. We see this all the time now. People coming into the promotion having not won on the show or having won one and then lost. It's crazy to me that they didn't bring him back.
Dude, he's super talented. I don't think that they. I think that they look at their numbers and like their markets, and they don't think that the Caucasus region is like killing it for him or something. Like there's got to be a reason that they just. I mean, I think obviously they know that some of the best fighters come from that region, and they just can't. They can't get around that. Like there's nothing they can do. Islam exists. A lot of these guys exist, but yeah, I don't know, man. They seem to cut them. Sometimes guys with a lot of promise, and Timur is solid, man. He's fucking crazy. He would go to Thailand to train and like do some of his training camps and stuff. And then he started looking around and he was like, so all these rich white people just come over here and they pay like buco amounts of money for me to hold pads for him. And he was like, and it's super cheap to live here. So he moved his whole family to Thailand, dude. He holds pads for like rich white guys all day, and he's just like, dude, I'm fucking like living like a king over here, dude.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. Yeah, get in how you fit in, man. I mean, we watch Muay Thai on Sundays around here, and Chase on Friday mornings with One Championship. So we're big with Muay Thai fans, and just seeing the difference of the culture, like the advertisements, the conversion from baht to dollar. It's like we got people in the chat talking about retiring there all the time at this point. So it seems like a pretty good life if you want to live it.
Yeah, I want to go. I've never been. I know some people who have been, and I want to go train. I want to go fight. I want to get in a fight, like a Muay Thai fight in Thailand. Like that sounds like a lot of fun.
Brother,
just to say it's like something you did, Like I don't want to fight a killer. Like give me some like yeah, like I don't know, someone who's not good. I don't want to sit there and fucking trade leg kicks all day.
Well, be careful what you wish for, because the commentator of One Championship, Sarah Goye, is 36 years old, and she had a 13-year-old opponent, not like literally a couple months ago. So I don't know how you feel, but you could get an opponent over there who you can win against, Cody. That's all that I'm saying.
Could literally be fighting a kid who's the age that you would be teaching.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Those guys, like the way they fight and like the back and forth nature of it, like your turn, my turn, kind of like dance that they do. To me, it's fucking like the most rawest, like, and I just don't want to do it. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not walking, like, because when you're fighting the way I fight is I don't give a shit when I throw leg kicks. Like, you could check it. Like, your mentality's got to be like, I've just got 2 baseball bats on my leg underneath my fucking hips, and I'm just going to chuck these 100 miles an hour, Obviously, you want to be on balance and everything, but like you don't care how hard you're throwing it. You don't care if they check it. But in Muay Thai, man, it just looks like, dude, I don't know. You're just like, I've had fights where I couldn't walk and shit the next day, and you've had like a ton of kicks, and those guys just kick the shit out of each other. I'm good, I think. But I do want to do it just to say I did it. But I need like a one-legged Thai person or something.
We can figure it out. But if you're going over there, let me know when you're going, because I've been saying that, again, one of the promotions we watch on Muay Thai Sundays is RWS, Rajadamnern World Series. And Rajadamnern Stadium is one of the coolest venues for fighting. It is my favorite fighting venue of all time. And I am dead set on getting to this venue before I die. So if you're heading over there, let me know, and we can go over together. I'll link up over there with you.
Dude, I'd be down. Everyone in the chat's talking about shin, how to condition your shins and shit. Dude, my shins are so fucking raw. My left shin has, they don't know if there's a fragment, but there's like it looks like a goddamn, it's like a puffy where my shin is, and you can move it up and down, and it's like, it's something weird. And then if I kick the bag enough, my shin like deflates, like it goes somewhere in my body, and then after like the next day it'll come back out. But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that it does that and not hurt, at least, if it's going to do that at all.
The doctor was just like, it could be a fragment, and that's causing like this liquid. But he was like, "Does it hurt?" And I was like, "No, it doesn't hurt. It just freaks me out." And he was like, "Well, if it doesn't hurt, you're good." So
Oh, no.
That's wild, man. That's some crazy shit, dude. All right. Well, I mean, circling back around because we were just talking about the Ultimate Fighter, and I did want to at least ask about it since we had that part of the conversation. I think I would be remiss if I did not at least get from the horse's mouth the story of Connor giving you the slap. How did it happen? Why did it happen? And how did you respond to it?
We were winning all the fights, and Connor was acting like a dumbass most of the time, or just like, like he would be on a high or he'd be on a low. So he'd either be like this crazy guy in the room who's like running around like a fucking leprechaun.
I wonder why that was. I mean, highs and lows with Conor McGregor,
yeah,
crazy.
Because he was on a shit ton of blow the whole season.
Confirmed.
100% guaranteed. And then other days he'd be in the background all slunched over, and you're like, it still reads, like it's the same. And anyway, the narrative amongst the fighters became, because he started canceling practices and like not being at practices, and like, like he wasn't always around, and so the narrative became, oh, if we win this quarterfinal fight, he's just gonna get in his jet and go home because he doesn't have any fighters left. We still have a couple more weeks left in the house. We still have the semifinals, and he'll just be like, well, there's no more reason for me to be here. I lost them all. And I honestly do think that he might have done that. Anyway, so when our guy was winning, we were shouting at him, like, fire up the jet, Connor. And so that became what we started shouting at Connor. And anyway, after his guy came back and the Rico kid came back and won in the second round, he knocked out Hunter. Connor ran around the back of the Apex's like little stands for the crowd that they used to have, the smaller one. And I didn't see him run back there. And they had us up on like this little like maybe 4-staired stand with the plexiglass in front of us. We had to stand there every time the fights were going on. And he came running up the side and he scaled the plexiglass, like kind of like, because we were probably like, I don't know, 8 feet up, from where we were standing, where my head was, probably 10 feet up. And he like scaled up it and he just slaps the shit out of me. And so I'm like just standing there, right? Like I'm like completely blindsided. I'm just like, boom, dude, just get fucking nailed. And then I was like, what the fuck? I didn't know it was him at first. I jumped over the railing of the plexiglass thing, and then I just started chasing him. And then then security just grabbed me, and then I was telling Dana, fuck this shit. Like, what the fuck was this shit, And then and then I just went home and was like in disbelief, like, holy shit. And then somebody told me, like, dude, you should sue his ass. You're gonna get a shit ton of money if you sue his ass. And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not really like a lawsuit guy, like.
Yeah, might have been an odd way to handle that in context, but it is a crazy thing to happen. And then for nothing, I mean, did the organization do anything? Did they? No resolution to it, right?
Well, what they did was they said, I was like, hey, you guys got video of that shit? Because Robert Drysdale keeps telling me I should sue his ass because he'll owe me, because I'll make more money suing him and set my family up better than however my career goes. Like I'll do more there. And I was like, but I don't know. I'm not really sure about the whole suing guy thing. And they're like, no, we didn't get it on video. And then like after the show, like the video leaked because they did get it on video. Like,
damn.
I knew they got it on video. I knew they did because they followed that guy around. He had a camera on him every moment that he was anywhere in the vicinity of the show or any of it. So
Yeah, crazy story, and I'm not surprised at all that they weren't trying to help you out with Golden Boy. So,
Dude, that was the
anyway.
craziest thing. So after all that happened, Connor and me used to have the same manager, Audi Attar, who was my first manager. And so Audi was there the entire time. And after he did that, Connor got nervous that I was gonna sue him. And so when he would be around me, he would act all strange. Like you could tell he'd be like the guy who doesn't know what to do with his hands, you know? Like he's just kind of fumbling and he was just and then he was trying to be all nice to me and I was just like, hey dude, I'm not gonna sue you. Don't worry. That's what I told Audi. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking sue him. Just tell him he's a bitch.
Nice. That's some man shit. All right. Well, then wrapping that up, Chase, you can take back over here.
Yeah, no, I think this is perfect because this leads me into the question that I need to get set straight by somebody who has participated in the Ultimate Fighter. I have always said that there is some special privilege that the tough fighters get. From what it sounds like, this does not, I mean, it sounds special, but it does not sound like privilege coming from the end of you. You have guys like Kelvin Gastelum who can continuously miss weight and lose fights and be finished in the fights, and he still gets contracts, But when you look at the position that you're in, it's like, I get fucking slapped by Conor McGregor and they don't give a fuck. Like, what? I don't know, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they don't give a shit, man.
Fuck. Damn
Yeah.
it.
I mean, we have seen, as far as the tough privilege thing goes, fighters that, kind of have rocky roads there. But I think that's more of the guys that are earlier on in their careers that are starting out. The guy who fought Raul, which I'm talking about, Raul Rosas. What was the one guy? Chase, help me out here. No, yeah, from Tough.
Vince Morales.
No. Oh God,
you're gonna
killing me right
here,
now.
Dude.
Yeah, no. Anyway, the idea is just that we have seen fighters from the Ultimate Fighter who kind of get a little bit more leeway in the organization, maybe they don't necessarily deserve some of the support they get, but they were on the show, so it seems like they get taken care of a little bit better. But maybe that's just a perception for some fighters and not across the board. Ricky Tercios, thank you, 10-7 in the chat. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, another person that I can think about was Joseph Morales. I mean, literally the only person on the whole season that was already in the UFC. Now he's on Tough. He comes back and he's going to get probably the I'm telling you, this title run that he's about to get is about to be crazy. But there's just a lot of people, they get coached by Bisping, or not Bisping, DC now. And it just, the way that they're going to get a path seems to me that they get it a little easier because they get easier matchups than, say, somebody from Contender Series. They get thrown against a goddamn killer in their first fight and then they die. It's crazy.
No, good illustration of this. Chapolin, who just fought recently. Fucking Chapolin on Tough, then gets another shot on Contender Series, doesn't make it there either, then just gets the call up, skipping the line. Yeah. It's I mean, now granted, again, these are all situations that maybe we're drawing dots where they might not be, but it does seem that they're, Tough kind of puts a little bit of a different aura on fighters at times, it would seem, but I don't know if that necessarily translates to all fighters.
I never felt it, but shit, who knows?
Yeah, fair play. But speaking of feeling things, this next story. Well, first off, speaking of feeling things, we will get back to that. We are rounding around the end of the show that I have stories for. So if you guys have anything else, please just save it for the end. We'll sit here and chat with Cody for a little bit, and we'll make sure we get a good rundown with the chat.
If you have questions now, it would be a good time to start putting your questions in there, and we'll pick some out.
Hell yeah. But speaking of feeling things, this movement that you are about to witness, I mean, Cody, we talked about different opportunities, outside of the UFC, RAF, Karate Combat. Now, this is the one that I think has the biggest potential. We didn't even run it down, but listen, we have another person who is no longer in the UFC, but now they are stepping up to the plate in Power Slap. Chris Barnett, what are we saying here? Are you coming along to the idea that you are going to be the next Power Slap E? Cody, let's go.
What's funny is when they do the Power Slaps at the Apex.
Yeah.
And so when we were on the show, we were training and they were trying to do the Power Slap, so we had to be around those guys a little bit.
Oh no.
And dude, some characters. not the brightest bunch. And I was just like, how the fuck are they? How are they getting this sanctioned? How are they doing this?
The commissions
then,
don't care. You already ran it down.
And then it made sense when Dana was like, "Oh, it's getting like crazy views or whatever," and I was like, "Oh, in like the shorts format, I understand power slap. You know, like I get why." Are we good? Can you hear me?
Oh
yes,
yeah.
it gave me like an error message as well. But yes, we should be good. Everything's fine.
Everything looked all right on my end.
But then I started realizing, oh, it was just for like the scrolling, the doom scrolling power slap on TikTok and Instagram, and I was like, okay, well that makes sense. I don't know if that's a business, but maybe.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there is money to be made there. But so then you've never actually watched a full power slap event then?
No, they tried to put it on at the house on the show. I was like, they were trying to like promote it or whatever, you know. I'm like, you guys want to watch Power Slap? And some of the guys were like, "Fuck yeah!" You know, like,
you got out easy then, because this season of The Ultimate Fighter, they actually took the contestants to Power Slap, so you at least didn't have to watch it live.
I would have told them I'm not going to the goddamn Power Slap.
Jesus.
So, yeah, no possibility of Cody Gibson in Power Slap then.
No.
Okay. Thank God.
We talked about head trauma.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, the real question is, and now that we know that Chris Barnett is going to be in Power Slap, the biggest matchup of all time would be between him and, you know, like Jack Swagger, of course, who's now over there. But the real questions that I have is, Cody, in your time over there meeting and hanging around these Power Slap guys, did you see the crazy Hawaiian? Did you meet the infamous guy who lost like 500 pounds? Now, he's no longer what you would have seen, by the way. He's 500 pounds slimmer. I don't know, Ozempic is crazy these days or what, but did you or did you not meet the crazy Hawaiian?
I don't think so. I don't.
Damn it.
I just remember these guys were practicing on those bobs.
Just slapping.
Like in the warm-up area, they were practicing on bobs. And then like they were just like, the dude who was by me was like this, like just an Okie from fucking Muskogee, man. Like, which I love Okies, so don't get me wrong, but I was just like, this guy, dude, they're just pulling these guys out, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and it's absolutely fascinating. I have done my fair share of watching some Power Slap, and I tell you guys, it is something to behold, man. They found some specimens for that shit, Jesus. But okay. So no Power Slap. That's cool. We can rule that one out. Karate combat still on the table. Dirty boxing, maybe. Bare knuckle. I'm not saying. Listen, Cody. I'm not the one to speak for you. Whatever. But obviously, we still have options. That is just running down the list. But if you did not know, Scott Coker. He's got an MMA promotion coming. You could be on the first Scott Coker card, my guy. We don't know when this is. There's a launch event coming. I don't think it's anything necessarily important to note right now, other than this could be you. This could be your calling, Cody. I'm ready to hear that you're excited for Scott Coker. Is there anything you know about Scott or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that he's starting a promotion and next year and has some money behind him. So that's always good when you get more. The more promotions, the better for the fighters. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, having money and more promotions is not always the key. I mean, you have something like the GFL that was just never even able to get off its feet, you know? So do you have anything were you even called up for the GFL? You didn't end up on their page on the website of people that were rostered that didn't end up signing with them. So I was a little upset there, but did you ever have interest in going to the GFL when you thought it was actually something credible?
Yeah, I think all fighters, you know, look for any promotion. And like sometimes as a fighter, from what I've seen too, like you just have to be in the right place at the right time. You know, some of it's just dumb luck. Like the guys that fought on that affliction card back in the day, like Tim Sylvia and shit. Like there were some guys on that card who it was the biggest payday of their career. You know, like they were paying ridiculous money and like for that time. And yeah, I think all fighters look for those sorts of opportunities. But I'm more interested in seeing promotions actually compete. You know, and not just be these like, you know, they convince some investors that they've got something and then they do a few shows and then they disappear, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's really why this is one that I wanted to bring to the show with the Coker promotion here, and the reason that I wanted to talk about it is for that exact reason. Basically, I mean Scott Coker's a dude. Bellator was pretty successful in its time. And Scott Coker, as far as I have heard, at least now, I mean, I'm not as boots on the ground as you might be, Cody, of course, but like anything that I've ever heard in this space has always been very positive about Scott Coker. He really has a pretty positive reputation amongst fighters and fans, and it seems, and personnel in the space. However, we did see Bellator get bought out by PFL. PFL became one of the biggest failures of the modern era, I would say, as far as promotions go, and is now becoming MVP because of that. I don't know if the legacy, I mean, it changed hands from Coker to be that. So maybe you could say, he disengaged at the right time. But do you have confidence that a promotion like this with Scott Coker, if he does have the proper backing behind him, could be something that does have that lasting power and becomes an actual, a mainstay? Or, GFL is actually a decent example of one that, there was a hype behind it to an extent. They certainly tried to make a splash, but it seemed like the pieces weren't in place to become reality. Do you think that there's more reality here?
I mean, I guess it depends on what we define what the goal being, is there reality that Scott Coker could lead another charge to create another promotion that becomes what Bellator was at one time, or something to that extent, or Strikeforce even, maybe, there's a lot of fighters out there. There's a lot of good fighters out there. The UFC, picks their roster geographically as much as anything, so there's a lot of fighters who fall between the cracks that, end up being stars, and then they have leverage when they would do to come over to the UFC, so that it's not that we see that happen all the time, but we've seen it happen. I think personally that any promotion, if we want to talk about like the goal being a promotion that can compete with the UFC, I think that will not happen until legislation is changed. And until it's just too big of a hill to climb, and they own like 90% of the talent. So how are you, and they have them locked down in contracts. So how are you gonna,
Yeah. Oh, I know very, very well on that one. I mean, they spent many years absorbing all of these other promotions at the time. I mean, really, if you trace the history back, the strategy was almost like a venture capital kind of strategy. You did all the competition in the space, you just absorb all of that. Really, everybody else who might want to be your competition has to play catch up at that point. And then by the time that they're even in a position to possibly challenge the dominance, they're already way farther up the top of the heap. There's really no catching them.
And not even that too, like from another perspective, like it's not just the top promotions. Like if you look down, or if you look in the United States at least, and really a couple around the world, like the regional promotions that have been long-standing and have been on Access TV or have been around for a long time, they're all consolidated now under the UFC banner. And what I see with that is an organization like LFA, right? Like young fighters want to fight on an LFA promotion because they get a lot of guys to the UFC. Ed Soares is connected to the UFC. It's on UFC Fight Pass. So the UFC, to some extent, their Fight Pass branch does some sort of promotion, and that legitimizes it for the fighter and their family and friends, and they'll go fight a main event LFA fight for $1,500 against a 13-0 Brazilian, and it's like, I don't know. And then to me, that just speaks more about the consolidation, because you want to fight on an LFA card because you can get to the UFC. It's like that pipeline.
Yeah.
So it's not like the promotions, even the regional promotions, are fighting for talent. It's like, no, these are the ones that the talented guys go to, and they'll fight for pennies because we're the gateway to where they want to get to.
Yeah. It's crazy. I just hope Scott Coker is, I see the chat, of course, talking about Strikeforce and Coker help starting that one as well. It is a nice thought that there's going to be a new promotion that just opens up and all the fighters, all the greatest fighters in the world are going to go there and compete, and people are going to watch. It's great to think about. I just don't know how logical it is. I saw, again, GFL, going back to it, they had one investor pull out and the whole thing just like got screwed up for a whole year. Who's to say the newest investor that pulled out is not the person who's trying to fund this with Coker? He ran right to Coker, like, all right, they can't do it over here. I'm going to give you the money. You figure it out. And who knows if they just jump ship once again? I don't know. That's just conversation starters, of course. But it is good to see people taking risks and the opportunity to try to start something new. But the UFC is just such a well-oiled machine. Even somebody like PFL, who is a well-oiled machine to an extent, they just don't have the right pieces to compete at the level they need to. It's just, I don't know. It's going to take a lot for Scott Coker to like really make something of this, is what I would say. But
Yeah, I mean, you could talk about PFL being a well-oiled machine. It was certainly oiled with Saudi money, and I think that when they pulled that out, that became a big problem for them. But I don't think it was ever all that well-oiled machine as far as the management went. And so that's, I think, the difference here, hopefully, is that if Scott Coker has the basis in management of a promotion like this, hopefully he's also got investors that are more reputable, credible, and actually going to stay in it with them to make this a success, at least to whatever level of success that he wants it to be or can achieve. I mean, that's basically what Cody's saying. It's like if you're aiming for the UFC, then maybe that's not the ambition that you should have. But if you want to be a solid, second option, or just something that's secondary to that whole ecosystem, like Cody was saying, like outside of the feeder system as well, there is opportunity there, I would say. And it's really, I think, also a matter of how much the fight enjoying public is going to want to put into it. I mean, I'm on stream 4 days a week watching regional promotions and all of that. Like, how many and more average fans who don't do it the way that you and I do it, Chase, like how many people are actually going to make that investment if they're watching on Saturday as well? You want to devote an entire Wednesday night also to fights too. It's like, it's a little bit of an ask. So it's an interesting dynamic there.
No, absolutely. Well, it's just all interesting to think about, and I'm glad we were able to get a bunch of opinions, based on all these different promotions and, the availability that Cody could have with them. Just once again, make sure to pick up the phone and give us a call over here at 513-777 something like that. But the last portion that I have, this is a fan, not a fan of, but whatever you want to say. The chat had suggested this video. We were going to bring it up a little earlier when Cody disconnected, but we had to save it because I think Cody is going to be really interested in this. I don't know if you guys know, there's a fighter named Valentina Shevchenko, but apparently she does some dancing on a show in 2013, and she's in heels too, by the way. So let's go ahead and see how she manages this one. No sound, so we don't get copyrighted.
Yeah,
But let's
I got copyrighted music here, but this is
Dafacio Dabble.
Yeah, Valentino.
Tattoos, they do add up. Does look like her so far.
Okay.
Before the gun tattoo, I guess.
Yeah, dancing with the Peruvian stars.
Yeah, what is happening here?
Focus the camera, fix the camera on him for a second here. I mean, I'm not able to actually make out all of what's happening. The camera's cutting a whole lot, but you can see she certainly moves.
This is how you find out why she learned to speak Spanish, is so she could join this show.
Well, I mean, I'm glad she did with the way that she's shaking over here.
Chad,
this isn't how she dances after her fights.
True, it's a whole different style. She's getting a lot. Look, she's Jesus. She's getting a little risque.
I was gonna say, I would like, it would be great if she gets a knockout and then does this.
Yeah,
you know that guy she's dancing with did not bang her.
Yeah, true. That's the unfortunate part. He's probably gay.
Brother.
Damn, Valentina she's cooking right now. Did they win? Is this like the winning performance, or damn, she came over a high kick.
Brought in a little MMA to it, a little martial arts, just to honor the roots.
MMA on dance, thinker. We got to start a channel.
Dancing with the Stars, is it like their version of that?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, she was on, I think, a reality show, and then this might have been a portion of it. So I don't know if the whole show was dance related, but she spent a lot of time in South America, in Peru, doing this stuff. So she was there for a while, and I guess maybe either this was that show or she did multiple shows. But obviously, got the moves to back it all up.
Yeah, this is like 10 times more impressive than, like, obviously she's in a dance, competition, but when you see her dance after her wins, it's like, oh, she knows how to do like she knows how to do a little strutty strut, but no, like she actually does know how to dance. Like, that's crazy. So
now
multiple genres of dance too. That's pretty impressive.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I wonder what other one does she crunk too? Is this like a thing that she can do?
she's one of the Jabberwockies, the Peruvian Jabberwockies.
Yeah, I can't believe that a woman of many skills, of course. This is your champion, by the way. I mean, she's one of the best of all time. She's got like 10 rubies on that belt, and probably a Dancing with the Peruvians trophy at home. I don't know. It's crazy.
So then, how many of these dance moves now, Cody, are you planning on incorporating into your own post-fight celebration? Is the big question here.
Dude, I hate it. I hate when people dance in their post-fight celebration. Like sometimes like Brazilians will, like they do like this whole like thing, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just not me.
So what are you supposed to do?
I think you do what you, I guess, feel like you need to do, I guess, in the moment, but
don't climb on the cage.
I fucking climb on the cage sometimes, but honestly, like if you knock the guy out, I kind of feel bad for the dude.
Yeah.
If he's not an asshole and I'm like, nah, that's a solid dude, like we just had a good fight, and if I knock him out, then I'm like, or I finish him pretty brutally or submit him. Not even if I don't submit him, I don't really give a shit because I'm like, eh. But if I like fuck a guy out, like I kind of feel like, damn, dude. I don't know, because I've been there. You've been on the other side, so like, I don't know. Not that I'm like hugging the guy or anything, but sometimes you see a dude get like knocked out, and then the dude who knocks him out tries to like console him while he's still like knocked out. And you're like, hey man, this isn't the moment, dude. You gotta like let him breathe for a few seconds. Like I give him like a solid few minutes, like if you want to go and like, hey, good fight, it happens or whatever. But like they'll do it like immediately, and you're like, oh goddamn, this never turns out well,
Yeah, well, this actually brings up an interesting topic. Just rounding out the end of the show, doing the whole dancing after you win, that's one thing. Jumping on the cage is another. What are some other things that you dislike? I'll give you one off the top. If you do or dislike, or you like or you dislike when they start hugging before the third round of the fight, after the first round, after the second round, we do all the hugging, we do the knuckle touches, we high five in the middle of the fight. Ian Gary, prime example of just doing way too much of this shit in the middle of the fight. You have 5 rounds, and the last minute that you have, you want to fucking be happy and high five and shit. So what do you feel about that, Cody? Are you in it for is it fight time when the cage closes, or is it time to fucking high five and shit?
I feel like if you're in a main event fight, then you already high five in the middle. Like that could be it.
True.
Now, if you're in a regular fight and they don't bring you to the center, and the guy like gives you this fucking high five sign, I'm like, cool. But I never like give the high five sign because I'm also like, nah, I don't really have to give you a high five.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to slap hands before we fight. Like the bell rings. Like if you think about the whole purpose of the high five, like it's like combative, like okay, we're about to compete in jiu-jitsu. Like a lot of guys will slap hands and fist bump, and that's kind of like the sign that like, all right, we're about to go, but fighting has way more serious repercussions, way more money's on the line. It's not a Wednesday night with Tony the accountant, it's like, no, this is like important. And then 2, yeah, it wastes time. I actually agree with what Dana was saying about this is your moment. You have 5 minutes left. You've trained your entire life for this opportunity to take down the Dagestani. And how much time did you waste? Like I 100% thought that was accurate. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Dana sometimes, listen, I hate to say it, but his opinion sometimes really does cook. When he's on Contender Series and he tells people why they're not getting a contract, every time you're like, God damn it, he's right though. Like he's so right when he's on it, but when he's just not in the mood, Dana definitely has his times where he's just off the ball. But I've always respected Dana for being that real, commentator of the sport. Like, he's the guy in charge. Like, he can make the call, and he does. I came from watching basketball. It's like, bro, Adam Silver would never fucking do shit like this. He would never say LeBron James should have fucking played harder. Like, Dana White will come out and tell people, like, you should have done this, you should have done that. Here's what I think you should have done. And his opinion don't fucking matter more than anybody else's. But, like, he's the one who calls the shots. You better start fucking trying to play to his strengths. I don't know. So Dana's an interesting guy, I'll tell you that. But it's just all fun and games, I think, at the end of the day.
Perhaps. Well, so is that the last of the stories here?
That is the last of the stories. Yes, that was the end of it. We had a little bit of some contender series. I'm glad we got to run through tough. A little memory lane run back. We got to talk about some new MMA promotions, some older ones, some new signings. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that we covered here today, man. This was really nice.
For sure. And I mean, just real quick, because we did have a couple. I know that not a ton of them, and we can get through these quickly, so I don't want to keep you any longer than we've already gone. But I did have a question in the chat. Shout out to the 10-7. They asked, who do you watch on MMA YouTube, Cody?
Well, I listened to John Nash and his podcast. I don't watch him on YouTube. I just listen to it in my truck. He has a really good podcast about the financial side of MMA and follows the antitrust cases really closely, probably better than anybody. So, what is his called?
Hey, Not the Face.
Hey, Not the Face. Yeah, I like that. He has a good intro, too.
Excellent.
By the way, your intro is awesome. Not only is it a cool-ass photo of Darren Elkins, but Darren Elkins is a fucking great guy.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, dude. Hell yeah.
I've got to train with him and hung out with him a few times, and super good dude. And I was like, man, that's a badass photo. So,
well, hey, since you brought him up, Darren Elkins, he just retired not too long ago. I mean, do you want to have to say anything about his retirement fight? I mean, a lot of people were upset with how it ended, probably premature, to some people's standards. But at least we didn't see him go unconscious or have like a very brutal way out. I mean, it's not the worst way out for Darren Elkins when you've seen what he has accumulated over his career, I would say. But it definitely lackluster for a single performance. But for Darren Elkins to retire on it, it's like, gosh, I really didn't want to see him unconscious or something, like his family was there and kids. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Dude, I think that guy's taking way too many shots to the head. His speech is delayed. He needs to stop fighting. He probably should have stopped fighting a long time ago. But man, that guy had some crazy comebacks back in the day, and he was always a dog, and he always had horrible striking, and somehow still beat everyone's ass or a lot of people. Mirsad Bektik, I was supposed to fight that guy one time. That kid was like a hot ass prospect, and when he beat him, I was like, hell yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, shout out Darren Elkins. A lot of people, especially, the UFC seems greedy when it comes to video packages and actually caring if you're going to retire, but they seem to care when Darren Elkins retired. So that's more that you could say the Nico Price. He just got his ass out the door. They kicked him on the way out, So good for Darren Elkins, I would say something like that. But happy for him to again not be lifeless on his way out where his family could see that, I would say.
Yeah, and to go out on his own terms, as he said in his pre-fight interview. He was making the decision himself, which I appreciate too.
Yeah, I actually think he came across really well in his post-fight speech as well. After he got finished, of course, that's just how the chips fall sometimes. So it's the fight game. So
absolutely. And then the other question I wanted to get to, because I thought it was a good one. This is from our dude Sanjay. He asks, what do you eat as far as diet daily, and how many meals, as well as how many calories?
Like when I'm in fight camp, or when
I would assume for fight camp. Yeah.
I used to be a dumbass, and I would just not eat carbs for like years. This was the way I did it, where I would just not eat carbs. I ate a shit ton of avocados and almonds and protein, and just wouldn't eat bread or rice or even that much fruit. a little bit of fruit, but not a ton of carbs. And did that for most of my career, and probably the last like 4 or 5 years. Learn more about diets and energy and at least macronutrients. And so then I started eating carbs. I would eat a cup of rice every day for lunch with some protein, some chicken and vegetables. Make different ones. You can make Mexican style or teriyaki style, or you just kind of mix it up. And I eat Greek yogurt. I eat protein shakes and string cheese sometimes, and a lot of fruit. Fruit's a great energy source, especially if you're trying to be like not caffeine driven for energy. Like, oh, I need caffeine to get to the gym after work. A lot of people are in that kind of position where they just have an energy drink every day to get through. And so I always thought that fruit was a good alternative to get your ass some energy. And that's the kind of energy that it's like real energy, not like I'm fucking hyped up for a little while. I'm going to be shaky and kind of feel like shit, but man, I'm awake,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Wouldn't know anything about that personally.
No, Pinker's on his 5th Red Bull right now, dude. He's definitely feeling it.
No shit. Well, and I guess what I also was, do you not keep like a specific calorie number then that you're looking to hit or stay under or any of that kind of stuff?
Nah, I feel like I kind of got the hang of it. Like I know I kind of have the same breakfast, I have the same snacks, I have the same lunches, and I know and dinners even, like I kind of just know what I'm supposed to eat, like portion size. But I've definitely flipped a lot and gone more to carbs and I don't eat bread still a lot, but when I'm in fight camp, but I'll eat a lot of rice and I'll eat protein, and I don't know, I just have it pretty dialed in where I don't really have to count the calories, like I don't really count the calories.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that pretty well wraps us up then. Before we sign this thing off, Cody, this open floor to you. You talking about the gym. Tell us a little bit about that or any other things that you would like to plug. Please get it all, anything that you want to promote or talk about, or, things that we didn't get to that you'd like to talk on, please. The, open forum for you. You've been such a great guest to us.
I don't know. I'm just happy I had a good time, man. It was fun. You guys, I like the topics because some of them were like MMA, and then some of them were just goofy shit like this.
You get, you understood. That is definitely the nature of the show. So I'm glad that you enjoyed that. But I mean, at least tell us the name of your gym or anything about that.
Yeah, so it's Renegades Training Center. RTC is our kind of our acronym. Yeah, we're just a small gym. I put in subfloors, so we have like spring floors. Just a lot of like the high-end jiu-jitsu gyms in Southern California, like Atos and stuff, will have them. Mendez Brothers Gym and stuff. And so I wanted to do something cool like that and give it a little bit different than a lot of gyms. And then, yeah, we have no-gi jiu-jitsu, so we're 100% no-gi school. We have a little competition team, and I take them to competitions and compete, and kids, high school kids, middle school kids, adults, and then I have kids programs too. And then we have a kickboxing program. My kickboxing coach, Castle Williams, runs an advanced and fundamentals class 4 or 5 times a week. So, and then my wife runs the HIIT classes at 5 a.m. in the morning. My wife was a personal trainer before she became a nurse, and she was a college basketball player. So she's really into like fitness. And so they incorporate bag work and then like full body workouts, and they do that early morning stuff. So yeah, man, it's been going good. And like I said, it's just been fun kind of building it and learning. And I always tell my wife, like, we're still in like the beta phase. Like we're still like testing things out and seeing what works and doesn't, and things we need to change and do. And it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a long process, and it's going to be a journey. And but we're having success. We're making money, and just reinvest it back into it. So it's not like I'm not driving I didn't pull up in a Lamborghini one week or anything and be like, oh, I got a gym now, I'm fucking killing it. But I think just reinvesting the money and that's been cool to see and be able to expand, grow. That's the kind of the goal for us. So yeah, man, it's been fun.
That's
Fantastic.
awesome. Yeah, I love to hear it, man. That's great stuff. I hope everything continues to go great with the gym, and obviously being the trainer there. Obviously teaching everybody, and I like hearing that it's the wife's doing a little bit stuff there too. It's a little team effort, man. That's awesome. Love it.
Oh yeah, I got my daughters are in jiu-jitsu, so they've been doing that, and that's been cool. And my oldest is always so damn busy with softball and basketball and volleyball, so she's hit or miss. But my 6-year-old's loving it, so she's I'm trying to get her to beat my 10-year-olds because my 10-year-old body one. So I'm like, once I can get my 6-year-old to beat up the 10-year-old, that might motivate the 10-year-old to give it a little more days to jiu-jitsu. So we'll see.
You got a whole family full of athletes over there. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, I married my wife is more athletic than I am. Like, dude, she beats my ass in so many things. Like, so I got her doing some kickboxing too. She hates jiu-jitsu. She's like, I don't want sweat. I don't want anyone like sweating on my face. And I'm like, I don't really like it. Doesn't. I don't care if they bleed on my face.
Yeah, no, she's valid for sure.
Yeah, and it all started on MySpace. Let's never forget. Speaking of, then, Cody, what are your handles? Instagram, Twitter, are they all the same?
Yeah, just the Renegade 559. I don't even live in the 559 anymore, but yeah, it's just I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I get on Twitter, I look at shit, but I don't really post anything anymore. Just the people kind of bother me after a while, and you're like, dude, do I really? And then you find yourself in these stupid like conversations and fights with these dipshits, and you're just like, why am I wasting my day doing this? Like, who gives a shit about this guy who's just coming at me? And then so you're like, So now I'm more of like a people watcher on Twitter, but yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about turning in my iPhone and getting a flip phone and just disappearing too. So,
Nice.
Well, until that happens, make sure that you follow Cody Gibson on all of the socials that he is still on and for the time that he will be there. Yeah, man, thank you so much for joining us for this, Cody. Thank you for sharing all of your insights into the sport and your insights on these stories that we talked about. Any last words before we close this thing out?
No, man, I appreciate you guys having me on. Let's do it again sometime. That was fun.
Love it.
Sweet. I love to hear that, man. We will definitely be doing it again if that's what the answer is, man. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, then that being said, guys, thank you all out there very much for hanging out with us, for all the people that have stuck through for this one. We really appreciate it. Definitely a big deal for us around here. So until we see you next time, more coming this week, yamashow.com for all your merchandise needs and stuff. We got to get Cody Gibson and some Yama merch. We'll get some out to you. Yeah, yamashow.com, more stuff coming on the channel always, just make sure you got your notifications on, like and subscribe if you're not already. And we will see you in the next installment of whatever it may be. So until that time, everybody, you have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, and as always, fight on.
Hey.